Hey guys, so I'm a few minutes early. You always want to give yourself some time just so that you guys know to always prepare. You just never know what may happen. You should have seen me over here wrestling with the welcome. I'm just doing a quick introduction. Welcome. I'm just doing a quick introduction. I'm on here a little bit early, like I said before, is that you want to make sure that you are early because you never know what can happen. You don't want to, if you have interviews or lives or whatever you have going on, you do not want to wait till that time to start getting things ready. Like, okay, well, 5 minutes before I'm going to start working things out. No, you need to like 30 minutes to maybe 45 minutes start getting your stuff together. It's so important. Because if y'all knew how I was tussling and wrestling with this setup, like, really? This what you're going to do? So when you're on time, you're late. And when you're early, you're on time. Just remember that. So thank you all so much for joining. I'm so excited about this interview with Patrice. And I'll probably line up some other stuff, down the road. Hey. So I'm so excited, like I said, with this discussion. Just a great discussion that needs to happen. So excited to have her. So like I said, I just want to jump in early. And Patrice, just send me a link whenever you're ready. So I got my interview questions, y'all. I just want y'all to know I'm thinking about y'all. Just want y'all to know that. Because right after this, I got somewhere else, I got here. It's running, your girl running, But again, thank you guys so much for joining. Like I said, it's giving time for people to just kind of jump into this live. Just talking about the branding, everything that you can possibly think of. Thank you so much for joining. And we're just going to have a really great conversation. Again, we're here to definitely be of service. We're here to be of service, so make sure that when you guys have questions, put them in the comments below. We'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Hey, Patrice!
What's up? I'm like making sure everything is situated over here.
You know what's so funny? I jumped on early just to kind of give that little quick introduction, just to kind of let people know, like, you do not want to start getting yourself ready like 5 minutes before you're supposed to do something.
Yeah.
You want to start, kind of getting your things set up and everything. So I said, let me give, some more people to join. I said, some people popped in as soon as I went live. I said, oh, y'all ready?
They came in ready. Right. That's what's up, though.
Man, nothing much, just relaxing. And the COVID cases, they're still pretty high out here, in Cali. So people are just kind of like slowly doing some things, but not a lot going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What about out
there?
there?
Same here. They out. They everybody eating. They doing a whole bunch of stuff. We went to the mall yesterday. They out at the mall shopping. I'm like, I thought we were gonna be the only ones, right? I'm thinking we gonna be the only ones in the mall. Nah, they out. Right. They out. Like, okay, so they like, forget this vaccine. We gonna hit these streets.
Okay.
Hey.
Let me tell y'all something. Y'all be safe out there in them streets. Be safe because
for real.
Let me tell you, partying now, you don't want to mess around and be in the hospital.
Yep.
Because then you can't party.
Not at all.
Thank you.
It's still a mess, I'm a little. Are you getting the vaccine?
Yes.
You are? Okay. I'm still on the fence. But everybody around me, they already got it, or they got appointments scheduled, and I'm just over here like, I don't know.
And, and I tell everybody, you just make sure that you do what you feel is best for you. With me being a veteran, they done already put the little notices on our website, like, don't call us, we'll call you. Like,
got you. Yeah.
Don't call us for this vaccine, we will call you.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I may get it. I'll know in like the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see Real Crown said, "Don't do
He said,
it.
"Don't do
Don't
it."
do it. Don't do it." We'll see. We'll see. I don't
Right.
know.
You
It
know,
took me a good 3 years to get. Well, no, not 3. How long the flu shot been out?
that's been out for some years.
Look, I just got it in October.
What?
Never had a flu shot until October. So I'm one of those.
You know
Yeah.
what? I'm the same way because I ended up getting a whooping cough shot by the
Mm-hmm.
recommendation of my doctor because it was going around really bad, and I had a bad reaction to that. So I'm like you. I'm the type of person where I'm like, I don't need you.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
Wait to the last minute.
we'll give people a couple of more minutes. Again, thank you guys so much for joining and jumping in here. Like we'll give it to about maybe 6:05, 6:07. People popping in. Like I said, this one thing I really want you guys also to understand as well, the authenticness. We like working with people that we like. You please understand that. We like people, we like working with people that we like and that we trust. It is so important. And as you can see, the genuineness with me and Patrice is a genuine relationship. And that's so important to understand between a contact and a genuine relationship. Like I said before, Patrice has so much that she's going to be talking about today. I'm so excited. Like I said before, I've been setting this up because I'm like, listen, Linda, a lot of y'all, for some reason, don't seem to think that branding and marketing is important. I don't understand. Help us help you.
They think, you're right. They just throw music out or they try to be cool and they think that's it. That's good enough. I call it the pretty girl syndrome.
Yes.
They think because they're talented, people are going to hop on it like pretty girls. They pretty, so they get the world handed to them, but looks fade.
Right.
Looks can't fade. So in with music and artists, you got to have more. You got to have more, that you come with.
Absolutely. So now that we got some people that's definitely coming in, we're gonna go ahead and start. We definitely don't want.
Yeah, I think they're gonna come late. They're gonna come late.
Yeah,
that's how they do.
We don't want to hold anybody up who's been here. Y'all was soon as I went, y'all boom. I said, okay, I see you. And I will go ahead and post this on my feed as well when we're done. Because like I said, I know people are always looking for this information. So just a little bit about myself. And what got me into management. I'm an artist manager. I started my business at the end of 2014. I'm my own LLC. And basically what made me get into management was because the lack of knowledge and that artists had. A lot of times they would burn bridges. After burning bridges, and what I mean by that, they don't get their way. So what do a lot of artists do? 9 times out of 10, they go to social media and they're, oh, screw this person or that. And you don't want to do that because you don't understand the business. It's not that you've been finessed. It's not that you've been screwed. It's just that you don't know the business. And so as an artist manager, I became passionate about that, about just being obsessed with the business. And so I am obsessed with the business. I'm not someone, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not to knock those people who are out there that are managers, publicists, producers, but that's not me. I focus on one lane. And what that one lane, once you have to master that one before you can become a jack of all trades. So just to let you know, also keep in mind, again, thank you so much for joining, everyone. Just so that you guys, I'm sorry, I'm missing a wave. I'm sorry. Just so that you guys also know as well, for me, myself, I don't go to manage a whole lot of people. I keep my roster to a minimum of 2. The reason why that is because I want to make sure that I can give you my attention that you need because I'm only one person. But I'm also looking at the brand aspect, and that's why it was so important for me to bring Patrice on so that you can understand from an artist manager standpoint what I'm looking for when I say a brand. So Patrice, I got a few questions that I'm lined up for you.
All right now.
again, like I said, if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll be more than happy to get to you. We're going to scroll them down if we miss any of them. So the first question that I have, well, first of all, let me back up a little bit before I go into these interview questions. Patrice, can you go ahead and let people know who you are and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm Patrice K Cokley. I got a company called the Bassline Group where we focus on marketing, management, and offer some label services as well. One of the things I typically focus on that kind of sets me apart from everyone else is artist development and education. I am real big on educating artists and making sure that they know, for one, what business they're getting into, but also they understand like the business, kind of like what you said in your intro. You got a passion for it, and you see a lot of people out here, they'll go online and trash whoever, but it's because they don't know the business. So with me being a former educator, well, I ain't even gonna say former because I still educate, but I'm a former professor from SAE Institute. I taught there for 3 years. And that really had me thinking like, yeah, like I need to continue to educate, even though COVID laid me off from that role. I'm like, yeah, I still need to keep this going, and just went full-fledged in my content online. Because I just feel like, the merrier. And on top of that, I hate seeing a lot of misinformation out here too. A lot of people will go into this education space on social media to grow their following. And me, I don't care about that. That's why my numbers are somewhat low compared to everyone else. I don't care about that. If I can touch just 1 to 2 people and they learn something from me, I'm good, So I kind of focus on that. But yeah, I'm based in Chicago area. Originally from Detroit. I still rep the D. Can't wait to go back home with all this COVID mess. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, well, I'll say too, I've worked with a lot of people over the years. I started the company in 2014, so we celebrated 7 years last month.
Congratulations.
Worked with a lot of independent artists all over the world. Right now, I got an artist here in Chicago. He goes by Ken the Messenger. I have an artist in Montreal, Canada. Her name is Montreal Ways. I got another artist in Tampa that I work with. I'm a part of her management team. That's me and Martina. I like to keep, like you said, I like to keep my roster small as well. But I also take a look at what everyone's got going on too, because you don't manage a lot of people at the same time. It's not like I got 3 or 4 or 5 Beyoncés. Like, that's just impossible. So yeah, I try to keep the roster small, but I've worked with tons of people throughout the past 7 years. My biggest client to date is Matthew Knowles. People love when I mention him. I like to talk about SAE and teaching, but people love when I talk about him. So yeah, I worked with him for 3 years, got him set up online, developed his online presence. He went viral a couple times from me in my post and content. Designed a couple of his books as well that went viral, and that was on Wendy Williams and everything. So yeah, I've done a lot. I do a lot, but most importantly, I love what I do.
And another thing too, we can't forget. I mean, tell us about something that you just did recently, Patrice.
Oh yeah. See, like, it's so much going on, man. I be forgetting, right? I need a list for myself.
Right.
I gotta stay busy. But I just secured a partnership with Symphonic Distribution. They're a well-known boutique distribution company. Remind you of like Empire, United Masters, but they're on a bigger level. They're up there with Empire, really. Yeah, they're based in Tampa, but got locations all over. I've been following and working with them and speaking to the guys and women over there for like the past 5-6 years or so, basically since I started Bassline. And I developed a relationship with them, and it got to the point where I felt like I could use additional help, because with them being a bigger company, they have the relationships and the manpower to do things that I personally can't do myself. So I'm like, you know what, let me just partner with them. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I did apply to a couple jobs over there. Right? I did apply. Okay, I ain't gonna, hey, I did send them my resume. But, everything happens for a reason, because now we're partners, we're equals. So Yeah, that happened in January, and I've been doing a lot of press and interviews for that. So yeah, it's been dope. It's been dope so far.
And you know, and it's so funny that you mentioned as far as keeping yourself busy and that you tapping into so many different areas. That's one thing that people tend to forget too, is what we do. You know, there's other things that we tap into. Um,
Hmm.
and like I said, as far as just keeping just in the know and what's going on, and just relationship, and that we're always learning. You know, we're always
Yeah,
learning. Even with you being a
always.
professor and you're being a student, I'm a student of you in a lot of different things. You know,
Yeah.
so that's so important. So
It's
now,
so much going on. It's so much going on online and social media, marketing, the music industry. You have to remain a student of the game. I just paid like $100 for a course today, like a little webinar that I'm gonna go back and watch tomorrow. Like you just have to stay on your toes at all times. Like even the artist is tuning in. Educate yourself at all times. Like there's stuff that you know that I probably don't know and vice versa. So I look at myself as a student at everybody, because you just never know what you can learn. Personal experiences, your experiences are different than mine and vice versa. So it's always good to just remain a student of the game at all times.
so important, so important, and also, you know, you guys have to be out there and collaborating. You need to cross market. You need to touch bases. I want you, and I know that people want to hear about Matthew Knowles because we all know how people love those names. They want to the name, and forget that there is work that's
It's
associated.
work.
That is, you know.
I was,
So tell
yeah,
people
it's work.
how you met Matthew Knowles. Tell them how you know, so they can understand.
Um, like some of you guys that are tuned in, I was frustrated. There was a day where I was frustrated with working with crazy ass artists. Like I'm gonna be real, like so some artists ain't ready, and I was just like, dog, I just need to work with some more established artists that's gonna outwork me. You know what I'm saying? Because I go hard, and I'm just like, man, I'm just like, should I even do this? Like, should I be doing something else? And it was at a time where I was literally ready to give up. So this had to have been about what 2016, I believe, 16, 17. I was literally ready to hang it up. But I said, you know what? I ain't gonna do that. I went on YouTube and was just watching a whole bunch of videos, just trying to get inspired, inspiration from somebody, and then I landed on some of his videos. I just listening. I'm loving what he's talking about. I'm familiar with his work and his content already, but I just started paying deeper attention. I got downloaded one of his books. It was the DNA of Achievers. I
Okay.
read that in like a day, like straight up. And I'm like, dog, like he is listing every single quality that I possess in this book. I said, you know what? Let me put my research hat on. Let me find this man's email. And I sent him this long email. Like I still have it. I might even print it out and frame it. I sent him this long email, literally, like, I don't want to say crying my heart out, but I just laid it out. Like, I have this, a lot of people don't know I got a bachelor's and master's in marketing. I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. I'm listing all this, and I'm like, what should I do? I don't have a Beyonce, I don't have a kid that I can make
Okay.
into a star, right? Like, I said, what can I do? And he said, like he replied back to me. It had to have been within the hour. I was shocked by that. Sent this man this random email. He replied back in 1 hour, under an hour, and said, I would love to talk to you about one of the groups that I'm working with. I'm like, what? Okay. All right. Now, mind you, I went to him for, advice, mentorship. He ready to give me an opportunity. Now, mind you, all my stuff was straight at the time. I had my website. I think I sent him a pitch deck. Like, look, this is what I do, right? I sent him all this stuff. So it was like I was looking for mentorship, but also pitching him at the same time. Like, I'm not just some Joe Blow off the street. I put my work in. And we scheduled a call literally a week later, 15-minute phone call with him and his director of marketing at the time. 15-minute phone call, and we secured something. Like I landed him as a client after a 15-minute phone call. He told me the group. They went by Blush at the time, and I told him what I could do, and he was like, "Let's do it." I told him a number, let's do it. I was like, well, shit, let's do it then. And I worked with him for like three years, like, and it was a dope experience, such a dope experience. But it came from an email.
And I think
Just
a
to
lot
answer
of
your
people,
question.
no, and I think a lot of artists a lot of people that are tuning in today, they need to understand that as well. Stop allowing people to get into your ear and make it seem like you can't do anything because you don't have any contacts in the industry. Let's just stop that right now. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that we as artist managers also, we may have to do some cold calling. You know, so you don't know, and it's not about who you know, it's about can you get into the room. Just
and then once you get in the room, can you stay in that bad boy? You know,
about it.
Let's talk about it.
Man, can you stay?
I just said something to a buddy of mine right before our live. And I was just telling him, like, I know I'm in a weird spot, but hey, it's all about, you know, we gotta knock on doors. You know, the only way you don't have to knock on the door is if you're born into the industry. Mm-hmm. If you're born into the industry, let's say like Sean Combs, like King Combs, you know, Diddy's kids. Mm-hmm. They ain't gotta work, do nothing. Right. They Diddy's kids. They can go to the audition. They probably don't even have to audition. They got the role. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like we have to put in the work. Mm-hmm. You know, whether the only way you don't have to is if you were born into it. Mm-hmm. But if you're not born into it, you got to put in the work to get in the room. And like you said, sometimes we have to send cold emails. I was working with an artist last year, and I can go back in my emails under sent. And I'm like, dang, look at all these damn emails. I'm just scrolling. Like, whoa. And people will say, oh, you ain't doing nothing. But no, that's work. Sending an email is work. You know? So yeah, it's like you have to send those cold emails to at least get in the room. And then once you in there, you got to stay in there. So don't just send emails, but you got to back that shit up too. Yes. So you can stay in the room.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's so important. And most importantly as well, us also being artist manager, because you have an artist manager hat as well, is being coachable and being coachable throughout the process. Not just being coachable when you feel like, oh, I got what I want, so now I'm gone. Well, number one, you don't want to do that because that shows a disloyal trait. And people watch that. And so you want to be very careful about that. You want to be careful about team hopping because you feel like maybe you're not moving fast enough, so I'm going to jump up over here. That also shows a disloyal trait, you know, because you want to make sure that this is a process. Everybody wants a home cooked result from a microwave dinner, and it just doesn't work that way.
Nope. You gotta put the grind in. You gotta work, and also foster the relationships that you're developing and building. You know what I'm saying? Even down to your manager, building a relationship with your manager, like that takes time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get it. I think people like to hop around, like you said, because they think they can get a bigger opportunity elsewhere. And it's just like a job. People job hop all the time, but not realizing if you stay somewhere and learn and develop yourself, you may be at a higher position in 2 years, you know, like, so it's always best to just focus on building that relationship. So that way you can leverage it later.
Right. And then also, to keep in mind, because I want to make sure that things are not taken out of context, what we talk about here is that when I say as far as hopping around, I'm not talking about toxicity. So if you're dealing with toxic situations, no, I would not tell you to stay in a situation that's beyond its expiration date. You know, so definitely. But let's get into these questions, y'all.
Come on, come on.
So the first question is, why is it important to have a brand strategy, Patrice?
Why? I'm like, why not? I would say the reason why it's so important is because think about, you have to put yourself in the consumer or the listener's shoes. Okay. Think about the artists that we like. You know, yes, we may like their music, but we like who they are as people. Janet Jackson, for example. She part of the Jackson family. We love her. We love her story. You know, and when she had all the drama going on, we loved her even more. which resulted in her starring in movies. So because we love her and who she is, she can go do other stuff and her fan base is going to follow. So as artists, it's so important to have a brand because people fall in love with you and who you are and your story. Sometimes it may not even be the music. Sometimes it just may be it may be how you look, where you're from, So it's always good to have a brand to just solidify everything. Because I tell artists all the time, your music isn't what you're selling. I actually have a video that a lot of people found me on. I said that like a lot of artists will focus on the music so much to where they forget about the marketing and everything else. And I say, why focus on something that you're already good at? We already know you know you the shit when you go in the studio. Let's focus on your weakness, which is getting that story in the brain. So that way you're out here moving in a world where you're operating out of your strengths and not your weaknesses. So focus more so on building the brand and the marketing, the story, and less on the music because you're already giving your music 100% already. So you don't have to do much over there. So it's just important just for that reason, just to build a fan base and relationships with people that gravitate to you and who you are.
Great. I love it. I love it. So, and I know we know the answers to these, but our audience may not. So let's go ahead and share this.
Of course.
I've paid $5,000 on my brand, including the photo shoot, music video, website, etc. How much should I pay for marketing?
Oh, good question. Good question. So they spent $5,000 on developing or getting the assets. I would say, yeah. How much to spend on marketing? Right. It depends on what they're trying to achieve. At the end of the day, what are your goals? Like are you trying to attract a record label? Are you trying to attract a manager? Are you trying to just build your audience? And if so, okay, what's your story? Let's go back to this brand. What's your story? Because that's going to dictate what type of content you're going to need. And it's also going to dictate how you're going to put that content out, which is where the marketing comes in at. So for example, I'm going to use myself and then I'm going to talk about an artist. Myself, I don't have a desire to be scooped up by a label or anything like that. My goal is to get my message out there to those that need it the most. So that's what I do. I put out little video clips, educating folks, and I have a way of marketing it and running those ads behind the scenes. I don't have billboards. I don't have, running ads in the newspaper or on DJ booth and all these sites and stuff like that. My goal is to just build my audience on Instagram and get my voice out there. So that's what I do. So what I spend $5-7 a day, if that, but that's because that's my goal. Now, flip side, I have an artist, his name is Ken the Messenger. We got a whole storyline built around him, and it ties into his name and his overall brand. What I advise him to spend maybe is going to be different because of his goals. You're talking about publicists, you're talking about running digital marketing and running ads, but also you got to think about what type of content you're going to be running too. Are you going to be running audio clips? Are you going to be running little video clips? Are we selling something? Like what is it? What's the content? Like what are we selling? And then what is our goal? Are we trying to get people to sign up to a newsletter? Are we trying to get followers? Like, are we trying to get more streams on Spotify? All of that stuff matters. This is why it's good to have a brand and have goals at the same time. So I really can't give you a number. You spend $5,000, that's cool, but when it comes to marketing, and this is why I get a lot of people in my DMs, they say this all the time, like how much marketing costs. It doesn't work that way. We got to have a full-blown conversation, develop a strategy around you, your story, and your content, the music, so that way we can sell everything because we're selling you, not the music. And then we can determine, all right, what's a good budget? What kind of costs we need to get that out there. So as far as what you should spend on marketing, it really depends on what it is you're trying to do and what you're working with.
Now, would it be fair to say, I I know from a manager standpoint, if I had an artist that came to me and they had already spent $5,000 just to establish their brand, they would not be able to come to me. Let's just say you're handling the marketing aspect of it. They would not be able to come to me and say, well, Ayana, I got about $300 to give Patrice. I'm gonna be
Oh,
like,
no, 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 no,
right?
no, 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 no. I've gotten that too. Don't come to me with no, I got $500. What can you do? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh gosh. I just think, you know what? And again, artists, we're not laughing at y'all. We're laughing at the situations, because if y'all could only understand what goes on behind the scenes, you would bust up laughing too. You know, so.
Yeah, it's like that 500 that could get you a consultation where we can talk about strategy, and that way you can start thinking of, all right, get the wheels going on how you should think about your marketing, and then that way we can later on develop a plan and come up with a budget. But yeah, 500 ain't gonna get you much.
And not only that, a lot of them want to do a one-time $500, and it's like,
it don't work that way.
Where do you want me to? I don't.
Yeah.
It's like no,
I wish it did. Yeah.
This is monthly. These are monthly fees that have to go into your brand. It's so important, because we, with our own brands, as managers, with Patrice doing manager, artist development, her partnership with Symphonic. Shout out to Symphonic Distribution.
What's up?
Yes, Symphonic. I love Symphonic Distribution. But we also invest in ourselves. We take risk on ourselves. So it's very hard for us to want to help someone who doesn't want to invest in themselves. Not only do they not want to invest in themselves, but then they want you to do all the investment in them. And that's just not how it works. It becomes off balance. So it's so important for you all to understand. And so I understand a lot of people say, well, how much? And just like Patrice said, it depends on what you want to do. As an artist manager, one of the things that I always ask my artists, do you want to stay independent or do you want to go to a label? It's completely up to that artist. And I'm very real with them. If you want to stay independent, that's not where you kick your feet up and say, okay, yeah, no, it is a lot of work. And at the same time, there's nothing wrong with going with the label. It depends on what it is that you want. And also keep in mind, if you want to go to a label, you can't go to a label and talk about partnership when you don't have value to bring to the table.
Exactly. This is how a lot of people end up with bad deals, and they complain about them 2-3 years down the line, because they quick to sign something and not really bringing much to the table. It's like, yeah, Russ talks about it all the time, how he was able to get in and get out, which helped him in the long run, because working with, I forgot what company it was. I want to say not Capital, it was one of them C labels, start with a C. How he worked with them a couple years and they blew him up bigger than what he was able to do for himself. But at the same time, he was able to keep his back catalog. So that fame that he got with the label spiked up the strings in his old music. So now he's making way more money, because he kept those. So it's like, it's about having something of value that you can bring to the table, so that way you can get the best deal possible.
Exactly. And
but a lot of folks don't want to work towards that though.
They don't. And I do see a lot. I do see a lot of
Columbia. Thank you, Fab D. I see you, Columbia. Yep.
Thank you. And I do see the comments and everything in the section. I'm going to get back to your comments and questions. So as soon as we get done with our interview questions with Patrice. So this is, it's real discussions of, marketing. We understand marketing is very, very, very strategic. There's things that you have to understand about the algorithms. And this is why it's so important to have an expert like Patrice on your team. I'm very grateful to have her. So, and again, please keep in mind that you also want to, like Patrice said earlier, you want to foster your relationships. You want to make sure that you're respectful of these relationships and trust and believe. When we're doing business, we're doing business. I respect Patrice's business. So no, I'm not asking for freebies when I'm calling, or if there's a business that I need to have taken care of. You want to be able to respect those relationships. It's so important.
Let me piggyback off that.
Yes.
Let me piggyback. you good. You good. I just want to say that you good. Meaning, like, you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to pay for all that. Like, we can talk about you good because
Absolutely.
we have the relationship. And I want people
Absolutely.
to realize that too. I will say this about you is that you've always paid for my time. You've respected my time.
Oh.
And that goes a very long way that I want a lot of people to realize this. Like, a lot of you guys will reach out to people online expecting them to invest their time, not even money, but just their time in you. But you have to show that you value their time to even begin with. Always, you know, like try not to get freebies. Like, oh, can you listen to my music? Let me know what you think. That's a consultation. You like I charge for that. You know what I'm saying? We could sit down for 90 minutes and chop it up about you and your situation. But it's like when you show someone that you value their time
Mm-hmm.
and you respect their time, people will be more willing to give back.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what I want to say.
And I really wanted to share that because again, we know our relationship, but I need
Mm-hmm.
artists to really understand that please don't get it twisted. Even if you were to come on board as one of my artists and you being part of our marketing and branding aspect of our team, I need artists to understand, like, yeah, just because me and Patrice have a great relationship, there's business that I'm going to respect.
Exactly.
You know, and so that's one thing I
Exactly.
really want artists to understand, because sometimes recently I've had a lot of artists who feel like, well, if I just get you as a manager, then I can go ahead and just hop on your
Oh,
this is not how it works. That's not how it works. So I need artists to really understand, you know, the aspect, because I've gotten a lot of that.
mm-hmm.
So again, like I said, having relationships, it's so important. I want to say this too. Your friends and family 9 times out of 10 is not your target audience. I need you to
Not at all.
understand that. So when you're getting frustrated because they're not buying your product, they're not liking, they're not sharing, because they're not your target audience.
Mm-hmm.
They are
Not
not
at all.
your target audience. And like I said before,
Yeah.
this needed to happen because again, people don't understand marketing and branding strategy. And again, like I said, even relationships. You know, I don't care. I have two buddies of mine, well, several of them that own businesses, and I purchase the things, you know, because again, it's called respecting the business. Respecting
Mm-hmm.
the business.
Yep. Yep.
And no, go ahead.
And a lot of people too, with the friends and family thing, they'll give up because their friends and family aren't rocking with them. No.
Right.
And it's like I understand why people do it because they're the closest to you.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like you can't build a business off your friends and family. And this is why I do all of my marketing and all of my videos on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Cause friends and family on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'll put up my articles so the folks back home can see that I'm out here working, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll applaud and, oh, look at my cousin doing it, you know, shit like that. But to build the audience, which is what we're doing here on Instagram, this is where I live because it's all new people, you know. So artists have to get that as well. Like your friends and family, you can't build a business off.
Mm-mm.
Like that's all they are is friends and family. That's it.
Mm-mm.
And don't get mad if they ain't rocking with you. They not supposed to rock with you. They family. It's okay if they don't rock with your music and what it is. That's okay. Don't hold no grudge and be mad at Thanksgiving because they not playing your video in the background. Like, don't be mad. Like, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let them be your family. Let them be your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Go out here and get you a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Build that. Yeah.
And not only that, and I had to talk about the support. The support is not showing up. If Patrice was to have an event, I'm not going to just, and this is just me, just period. I'm not going to ask Patrice to put me on that guest list. Me supporting Patrice, and it's one thing I tell artists all the time, buy the product.
Yeah.
Make sure that they're buying tickets. Make sure that they're buying merchandise. You know, being added onto a guest list, that's not support. And asking to be on a guest list, that's the worst.
Yeah.
You know? So you want
Yeah.
to make sure that you do that. And then let's just say you do get on the guest list. Don't go in there talking about, you know, such and such is my cousin up there on stage. I need about 5 free drinks. So
No.
it's so important, guys. And like I said, this is why we're sharing these. We want you to be a fly on the wall to these conversations.
Well.
My next question for you is, what is a social media manager?
Oh, look at you. Good question. So simple, but it's good because we don't talk about that. We don't talk about it. A social media manager is someone that literally manages your social media from day to day. Like, they come up with the strategy, they schedule the content, they post the content, and they keep up with your comments and DMs and all that other stuff. So you don't have to do it. That's all they do. And that's a job in itself. Like, people, that's a full-time job. So some of y'all that love being on social media, some of y'all need to apply for these social media jobs and get you a check, because that is a full-time job in itself. So yeah, that's basically it. That's what they do.
Absolutely. And I think that you all need to understand, and we see your questions. Like I said, at the end, we're going to go back through the questions so that we make sure that we don't skip anyone, but we see the questions. But I'm so glad that you brought that up, because again, like you said, that is a job, and we need you all to understand with regards to social media managers. A lot of times people try to a la carte situations, and that can be a little difficult when you're trying to a la carte your team. That can be very difficult, you know, because if you're trying to skim money, or not skim money, excuse me, if you're trying to save money, or you're trying to cut some corners, you can actually be causing more damage to your brand than anything, right, when you're trying to a la carte. So it's like, well, I don't want to hire a manager, but I'm going to hire a social media manager, or I don't want to hire a social media manager or a manager, and I'm going to just go ahead and do this. I'm going to just hire a photographer. You want to make sure that you are really getting your team in alignment. If you're not following Patrice, I'm telling you, she drops some really good gems. I'm telling you, I feel like sometimes when I get up, I feel like, I said, is Patrice at my house? I said, because I could be feeling something. And that day you dropped that message, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh my God, wow.
So I need you all to understand, like I said before, social media managers is exactly that. It's social media managers. Really, really important. My next question. Why and when would I need a social media manager?
Ooh, hallelujah. Good one. Good follow-up. You said how and why?
Why and when would I need a social media manager?
Why and when? Okay. Why and when? Why? Because I'm going to say this, is just like managers, like regular managers. You know, they always say you don't need one starting out. Social media managers, you don't need one starting out because you don't have a lot going on. You know, you need a social media manager when you get to the point where you have so much going on, you can't keep up with your social media, because we all know it's a job in itself. But even still, there's tools that you can use to help you manage your social media. And honestly, Buffer, like, I might clip this and send it to them, because they need to give me a sponsorship or a something. I need an affiliate link, because I'm always shouting them out. I personally use Buffer, Buffer. They got a free plan, but I got the $15 plan. $15 ain't nothing, okay? And I pay that per month, so that way I can schedule my content, you know? So I was telling my artist earlier, we had our bi-weekly meeting, and she was just so overwhelmed with everything. And I was like, no, we don't have to do that. I said, you take you a day, shoot all your stuff, you know, we're going to chop it up, and then we're going to schedule it out. So all these videos that everybody loves on Instagram, my videos, I have those jokers scheduled out till May. I don't have to even touch my social media anymore until May, you know, and that's for that reason. But that's why I'm like, you know, when you say when you get to that point where it's just too much. And even then, when you think it's too much, it's probably not too much. You're just not managing your time right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for example, Cardi B, she needs a social media manager. Even though she's doing stuff, but she probably needs someone to keep up with the promotion of videos, posting the clips and stuff like that. when I was working with Mr. Knowles, I did that with his artists. They were still responsible for their social media, you know, because I made sure that they were doing their stories and going live and posting up that they had to, you know, chilling at home or something. What I did for them, because I was their social media manager as well, I filled the gaps with all the promo materials. So if they just released a song, I put up the artwork saying song out now available, go stream it, or the music video clip. I was doing that while they were showing their day-to-day life, you know. So it had gotten to that point where they needed a social media manager. But a lot of artists today, the smaller artists, y'all don't have that much going on. You can do it. You know, you can do it. So that's when and why. I answered it, right?
Yes, you did.
Make sure I answered your question.
You did. Okay. You did.
Okay, cool.
You know, yeah, because like I said before, these are gems that people need to hear. The audience needs to hear.
Yeah.
Like I said, we talk about it. You know,
right.
They definitely need to hear this. Also, next question: are your services only available to artists?
No, not at all. They're available to whoever got a check. Nah, I'm just playing. right. Run them dollars. No, they're not. Honestly, I actually started out my freelance or entrepreneurial career working with small businesses and entrepreneurs. Back in 2008 was when I started, like Patrice K Cokley, you know, my personal brand. And then I had PKC Marketing. Well, actually, no, I started with Lead the Way Out, and then I was Patrice K Cokley, and then PKC Marketing, But no, I've worked with small churches. I've worked with a virtual. She wasn't even virtual, more like an office assistant, VA type of company. I've worked with authors. I've worked with clothing stores, like retail. I've worked with a nightclub. A coffee shop. Yeah. Hey, they had a check, and you know, like they had some money. Like marketing is marketing. At the end of the day, marketing is marketing. And that's my background, so I was able to hone my chops working with all these different companies. But I chose to focus solely on music because that's where my passion lies. I've been interested and involved in music since like middle school. So I took I made the decision to focus full time on music when I started the Bassline group, honestly. But yeah, are my services just for artists? No. I will say that if they're not an artist, I'm very selective. I mean, I'm selective regardless, but I know this about myself. And if I turn somebody down, that's the best thing for both of us, honestly, because I have to work, like we said at the very beginning of our life, we got to work with people that we like. I have to market a product that I connect with in some way. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to, otherwise I just don't get it. Like me, I don't see myself marketing a blockchain company. I don't even get that. So why would I, work with them, So it just has to resonate, and I have to get it, and I have to like it in order for me to work with it. But artists, yeah, they could be outside the music industry. I just have to rock with it.
And it's so good that you said that. I want to piggyback off of that as well. Because a lot of artists don't realize that we have relationships outside of just music.
Yes.
And especially as far as an artist manager, me also being a business consultant myself, representing businesses with regards to helping them with their licensing for their locations. Because a lot of people don't realize that, you may have a coffee shop with a stage. It doesn't realize like, I can bring in musicians in here. And then if you're bringing in, right. And then if you're bringing in musicians, you also need to know that you need to have a license for your location, because if not, PRO will come after you for not having that.
Exactly.
So that's important. I also have a relationship with the special events office for here in the city of Long Beach. I didn't mention that for the ones who are on the live. I'm out of Long Beach, California, West Coast. And so we're, and I,
with all that good weather.
Me and Patrice laughing because she's talking about the weather.
That good weather.
So, but I have a relationship with the special events office for the city of Long Beach. And what people don't understand is that when you have these relationships like that, sometimes you get information as soon as it hits the city before it really goes out to the masses. You know, I've had the city call me and say, hey, you know, Ayana, we need a singer for this event. You know, you got any recommendations? This is the city. You know, so I need you all to really understand that. And when you have these relationships, a lot of this is built on trust. So they know that my name is on this, you know, so I need artists to understand that when we're sending people, when people like myself and Patrice are sending people out and we've stamped our name onto this, it's really important that you guys understand that, because we can flip money, but we can't flip time. Once we get that time out, we can't get it back. And also too, is that we are not going to allow you to damage our relationships. You know, and so if you can't be coachable with us at our level, why would we think that you'll be coachable anywhere else? You know, so that's really important. And like I said before, when you're dealing with the city has to deal with a lot of the festivals. They have parades. You know, if they're filming movies, you know, I get out there. I get out there in the field. You know, I'll go find out who the director is of a film or who the producer is of the film, so I can find out who the music supervisor is for that film.
Hello, it all ties together.
Right. You know, so a lot of artists, you know, you all don't realize the amount of hand, you know, like we say, shaking hands, taking pictures, and kissing babies. You know, it's a real campaign. We do get out here and campaign for you, but we have to make sure that you're standing on your integrity, your loyalty. That's important.
Have to. I've let artists go and stopped working with artists because they didn't align with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how I could be playing your music every morning and be a fan of your music, but if I don't feel comfortable sending you somewhere or referring you somewhere because I know you're gonna fuck it up or you're gonna show up late or you know what I'm saying, you don't take it serious, then I can let you go and still listen to your music every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can still be a fan of your music, but you can't work with me. I can't put my name and my reputation on it. Because it's like you said at the very beginning, being on time is being late, you know? So that's so important. Shout out, and I'm going to give a shout out to Ken the Messenger, one of my artists. Sometimes he beat me there. And that's what I'll be talking about. Like, you got to beat me there. That's what I look for. Like, because it's serious. This stuff is real serious, and especially in the music industry, all this is relationship driven. You know what I'm saying? It's not even education. It's not, you know, your resume in a somewhat. It's a whole relationship, you know. So we gotta value that. We gotta protect it.
We have to protect it. We have to value. We have like I said, you have good and bad anywhere you go, any field that you go. But I will tell you this much, is that when you do show disloyalty traits or you do some things like that happen, and then let's just say we have artists, if you're an artist and you go behind the manager's back, which is a no-no, to their contacts, those contacts will let that person know, you know, like, hey, just a heads up, such reached out to me. So not only now don't you have a manager that's riding for you, kind of looking at you sideways, but the person that you try to do that with, you've already exposed yourself to them. Because they're looking at you like, oh, wow, if you do that to them.
Exactly. Like the bad girlfriend or boyfriend.
Right.
You cheated on them, so you could cheat on me. Like, once a cheater, always a cheater. You know, like, it's the same thing.
And I'm telling you, and we're going to let you know this too. Like, it's not going to always be peaches and creams, because I'm going to tell you something. I'm not an easy person to work with when you coming with that BS. When you come with that bullshit, I'm not the person that's gonna be all friendly and happy and just nah. You know, like Nipsey said, rest in peace to Nipsey. Like Nipsey said, he says, nah, when things ain't right, I'm not all charismatic. Yeah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
Exactly.
I'm feeling some type of way. I'm gonna let you know I'm feeling some type of way. You gonna know You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's really important. Like I said before, this is, and when you're dealing with a manager, because like I said, both of us are in that trench together. We work so closely with you as an artist that we know some of your deepest, darkest secrets. And we're working, I mean, we're going through the wash cycle with you, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
that's important. And we don't, you know, and then if you go over here to somebody else, they may not know you from that wash cycle like we know you from the wash cycle, you
Right.
know. So you
Right.
want to make sure, remember that we're on the team together. That's so important. We're on the
Yep.
team together. This is not a sprint, it is a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you're looking
Mm-hmm.
over here to such and such, and they've been doing this for a year and they got farther than you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. So you
Yep.
can't measure your journey against someone else. So that's so important.
Yep.
Got another question. How long does it take to see marketing results?
Say that one more time. You broke up a little bit.
Okay. How long does it take to see marketing results?
Oh, I've seen, I want to say you should see some kind of result after 3 to 4 months. It could be sooner, it could be longer, but I would say average 3 to 4 months of consistency. Consistency after 3 to 4 months, you should see something.
Mm-hmm.
I saw even with my stuff, like, you know, and I'm using myself as an example because my strategy is very simple. It's lazy. I think my strategy is lazy. Everybody love it, but I'm just like, this is it's simple because I'm not trying to be an artist. I'm just trying to get a message out. I saw results with putting my videos out consistently. What, 2 months later, one of them went viral. I was like, what in the hell? Like, so it could be sooner or it could be later, but I would say average anywhere 3 to 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
You should see something.
And I want you to expand on that because I want people to understand that I can't give you $100 and expect to see results in 3 months.
Yeah, it doesn't, and there's no guarantee. I actually have a video that said there's no guarantee in marketing. There's really no guarantee, and that's only because people, just humans, like we all human, okay? Like we have to remember that. We're trying to attract other humans, okay? All this music is subjective. My message, like even my content is subjective. My content is coming from my own personal experience. But some people may not agree with it and whatnot, and that's cool. That's because they have a different experience. So everything is subjective, right? Because of that, we can't guarantee a particular result. Maybe your music just not good. You know what I'm saying? And people are just not rocking with it. Maybe you need to go back into the studio and do something different. Or maybe we're targeting the wrong people. Like if you got a song like Cardi B, why are we targeting little kids or old folks? Like my mom is not gonna listen to Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? So why would I even target her? You know? So maybe we have to look there. You know, so we can't really guarantee any kind of result. If anything, what we can say is, let's set up a campaign, do a 3-month campaign, we be consistent, we throw some money behind it, and let's see what works. After 3 months, let's look back at the analytics, let's see what was working and what didn't work. What was working, we're going to do more of that. That's how it works. There's no guarantee. All I can say is we're going to analyze and study this data and see what's working and what's not, and do more of what's working. Priming another example using myself, last year during COVID, that shit was rough for everybody.
Yes.
I even had my moments of being depressed, like what the hell am I gonna do next? Oh my God, like
hey,
the school laid me off, like, oh God, what am I gonna do? So I was like, all right, I had gotten some, got a little COVID money and whatever, got a couple dollars. I got all this equipment. I got a backdrop. I got a camera. I don't know how to use all this shit, but I was on YouTube learning. I was on YouTube, like, that's not my lane. But I'm like, I'm about to get all this stuff because I ain't bringing no videographer in the house with those cooties, right? They need to stay over there with the cooties. So I got all my lights and stuff. Start doing videos. I even rebranded. I'm like, I'm gonna throw this little blue and this little orange. I'm feeling this little color scheme. Like, oh, put the videos out. My numbers went down. My numbers went down. It went down from this black and white and red I use all the time. It went from that to the blue and the orange and the fancy camera with the backdrop. My numbers went down. Do you know after about 2 months, I hurried up, took that shit down? Okay. I said, oh, y'all want my little cheap videos from my phone. I was about to pick my phone up. I'm talking to you.
Right.
I'm like, oh, y'all want these little videos from my phone. Okay. So was that money wasted? Some people may see that as wasted, but no, it was a lesson. Mm-hmm. You know, it was a lesson because I'm gonna make that back. I've already made it back. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about trying stuff and seeing what works. Like something as simple as that. Who would have thought a fancier picture image would do that? Mm-hmm. You know? So it's like, all right, I'm gonna go back to doing these black and white videos, you know, and call it a day from my living room or in my car and edit it on my phone. Like, this what y'all love? Cool, let's do that. So that's what I'm saying with artists. Like, this is why we can't guarantee anything, because if anything, people would have been like, oh, them videos, they're going to do good. They're going to do good because they look good. So we have to test stuff out. So that's why I say there's no guarantees, and we can't make promises. If you give me $100, I'm going to give you this. No, it's all about trying different stuff and seeing what works after you've been consistent. Like, don't just do it for a week. Do it for a couple of months. That's why I say 3 to 4 months. You should see something, you know. So I did it for like 2 months, 2.5 months. I took all that shit down, you know, and just went back. So that's why I say you can't guarantee. You got to just try stuff, look at the analytics, and do more of what's working and stop what's not working.
And I take that too, because a lot of people, I feel like they resonate with what they see as regular, which we call authentic. So they like, oh, we don't want all that fancy stuff. I ain't got fancy over here. I like it when you were just in the car, because I can see myself in the car. So that's relatable. That's something that people know they want to see. So it's so important. And so one of my last questions, and don't mean that this conversation is over, so don't y'all fret. I
ain't going nowhere. I got time.
It says, so my last question is, what are some of the challenges that you've encountered with potential clients and their expectations versus their reality of marketing? Patrice said, oh, she thought about these questions.
That's a good question. And I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be nice and cool and nice. I'm gonna be real nice. Answer it one more time. I mean, not answer, but say it one more time.
What are some of the challenges you encounter with potential clients and their expectations versus reality of marketing?
With marketing.
With marketing.
Okay. I would say challenges. We're going to start with challenges. I got to write this down. Challenges. You gave me a lot, and I want to make sure I cover it all. Challenges. I would say one of the biggest challenges is getting them to understand that it takes time. You know, when it comes to marketing, like you're saying, when it comes to marketing and just not working with artists in general, just marketing. Okay. I would say that's the challenge, is convincing them that it takes time. And because it takes time, it's going to take money. You know, running campaigns, you talking about, because when you got a publicist and digital marketer and you got to film videos and all this other stuff, that's money. And they're going to be like, that's a lot of money and I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah. So I would say that's the biggest challenge. That's the biggest challenge. And this is why, I tell folks, especially artists, to do baby steps, do something small, you know, and that's why we say it's a marathon. You know, a lot of people want to excel and blow up tomorrow. To blow up tomorrow is going to cost you a grip. It's going to cost you a grip. So it's a marathon because we're taking these baby steps, you know, and I would say that's the biggest challenge, getting them to understand that it's going to take time and for them to have patience, but be consistent though, you know. As far as expectations versus reality with marketing, let me just click with marketing, right? Because now I was about to go off about talking about just it. And as managers in general, I was about to go there. So we saying with marketing, so I'm gonna stay in my marketing.
And no, you can go there.
Marketing.
You can go there too. You want to expand with that? Go ahead. You go ahead and expand with that.
You gonna get me in trouble? No, I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be cool because I'm professional at all times. With the expectations though, when it comes to marketing versus reality, I guess that ties in with the challenges. You know, people expecting to pay very little and get these big results tomorrow, and it just doesn't happen. The reality is that it takes time, you know. Sometimes things aren't going to work. Sometimes they will. Sometimes things don't work because it's of something beyond your control. You know, when the government was acting crazy and DC was blowing up, you know, with Trump and everything, I told everybody, be quiet. Like, this is the time to go ghost. Ain't nobody paying attention. You know, ain't nobody paying attention to that. You know, like we trying to see what's going on at the White House. You know, so sometimes, you know, but that's stuff that you can't predict. You know what I'm saying? We can't predict, like, Black Lives Matter and everything that happened with George Floyd last year. We can't predict all that stuff that happened. You know, and I'm sure artists probably had things scheduled to release during that time. And they probably had that planned a long time ago. And you couldn't expect that. So you can't say that maybe that campaign failed because of whatever. It failed because, and it didn't work because something happened out of your control. So my thing is, this is why I said earlier, you can't really guarantee things because we're dealing with people. We're dealing with people. We're dealing with the human behavior. We're dealing with the media. Even though we're not in DC, we're not in Minneapolis and all these other places that craziness has happened. We're not there. It still affects everyone because it's so talked about. It's a viral moment. It's a big moment in media. And everybody with COVID, everybody was on their phone paying attention to it. There was no distractions. This is why everything blew up last year. It was no distractions. So you can't really say that things didn't go bad or didn't go well because of that or because of whatever, but it just happened. So the expectation is that they expect things to go great, but the reality is you got to allow room for error at the end of the day. You just got to have some kind of margin of error with marketing. It just is what it is. It's just people. It's just people, you know. Now, when it comes to challenges and expectations just in dealing with artists and management and business in general, I would say some of the biggest challenge, for me at least, and it's irritating. And like it is so irritating because, and I don't know what it is. Like, for me, I feel like the biggest challenge is, I don't want to say to educate, but it's to do the biggest challenge is doing business with people that don't understand the business. And I put up a tweet a couple days ago where I said something like that. Like, you can't do big business with small-minded people. Analyze your circle, clean house so you can level up. You know, and it irritates me because when it comes to the music business, like, we are living in an era, like this era that we living in isn't it's not like how we grew up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have books. Like, I posted some books on my Instagram story from the 90s. Like, books. I was in middle school in the 90s. Some folks watching, they probably weren't even born. like for real, like, I really want folks to understand that, like, we had to get books. This is why I'm so into books now, because we literally had to go to Barnes and Nobles or Borders, a bookstore, to read about the music business and learn. Now y'all got, they didn't even have, let me take that back too. Let me go back. Back then, we didn't even have a curriculum in school or college focusing on the music business. Now, there's SAE Institute. There's NYE. Regular colleges have a music business program now. My old school, Wayne State University, they got a music business program now. That's why I ended up in marketing, because they didn't have a program that I wanted. So I'm like, oh, I'll just do marketing. But now you got all these schools popping up, not to mention we have fucking YouTube. We have Instagram.
YouTube University.
Come on now. You got YouTube, you got Instagram. I put out my content. There's other people putting out content. And it just, it irritates me that people are not utilizing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yet they want to make it hard to conduct business because they don't understand the business. Like, there's no excuse for you not to have a basic knowledge of the business. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that, like, I would say that's the biggest challenge. And I'm trying to work on that. And I try not to beat people up over it either, because I feel like this, because I'm an educator at heart. I'm like, if you don't know something, just ask.
Just ask.
If you don't get it, ask. Don't argue with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm smart, right? I know, but I don't know everything.
Right.
But more than likely, I know more than you. So don't argue with me over it. If you don't know something, just say you don't know. Like Patrice, you know, it ain't clicking. Can you break this down for me so I can better understand? And shit, I'll pull out the blackboard. We could go to class. But don't argue with me though, over something that you really don't know. So I would say that's a big challenge.
Or don't come to me and tell me that your friend or your family members said that they heard or that they watched the movie, and that's 9 times out of 10, those people have never looked at anything with regards to the music industry, like never. And what Patrice is talking about too, you really just hit the nail on the head with this, because I do get irritated with that. You know, not only do you not want to learn not only do you not know the business and you want to argue about what we do know, you don't even want to do the research.
Right.
You just want to argue about listen, as a manager, I would tell any artist, have your business in order first. Have your business in order first, because one thing I can promise you, we can't make a lot of promises and a lot of guarantees, but one thing I can promise you is that when you have your business in line first, everything else is going to be smooth.
Yeah. Because then you show people that you take it serious too. You know what I'm saying? You show people, like, for example, my artist Ken, you know, he came to me, mind you, he was a teenager. He's like 22 now, I think. And he was one of my former students, you know, and when I met him, he was like you, 17, 18 years old. But when he came to me saying, Patrice, you gotta help me. I want to work with you. I gotta do
because that's how them artists be like, come on, please, Ayana. I'm gonna be the next one. I'm like, oh, here we go with this speech. Like,
I can't do this without you. Like, if he watch, he gonna be mad at me, but he'll be all right though. But with him, he came to me and he had his publishing entity set up. I'm like, who you with? BMI PR? Oh, who's your PRO? BMI. Okay. You set up as a songwriter or a publisher or both? Both. I'm like, let me see. But
that's
not to
mention. That's how
yeah.
Like, let me see.
But on top of that, his name is trademarked. You go to USPTO, you know, and search it. He got his name is trademarked. This dude was doing this at 18, 19 years old. I said, okay, I'll work with you because you done took the extra mile, the extra mile. You know, so that's all I say is, like, if you don't know something, say you don't know it, and don't let your ego get in your way, because your ego is gonna close a lot of doors for you, because of, you know, it's gonna close so many doors. Like, people ain't gonna rock with you. If they see that you got an ego and nobody can tell you nothing, you're gonna walk around like you know everything, but you really don't. Nobody gonna want to work with you like that. You know? So yeah, I would say that's the biggest challenge for me is that.
One of the questions I didn't have on here that just came to mind also, can you let the audience know the importance of a market rollout?
Oh, it's a very important. Otherwise, you just pissing money and music in the wind. It's good. A marketing rollout is basically it's a strategy. It's a strategy of how you're going to release your record. I know a lot of people. One of the reasons why a lot of folks love DistroKid and all these other platforms is because they can upload a record, pay for it, and then they can release it tomorrow. Like they'll let you it'll be on the platforms tomorrow. But excuse me, but honestly, I'm against that because how are you going to market and promote the record if you just releasing it tomorrow? Like what kind of strategy you have in place to roll it out? You know what I'm saying? Like Symphonic, for example, they ask for you to have music submitted and sent to them as well as videos at least 6 weeks prior to the release date. So that way they can code all the videos. Remember, we talked about that. I said, I ain't doing that shit.
Right.
I'll pay them a few dollars so I ain't doing that or whatever, you know. Yeah. They need time to code the video because there's stuff that goes on technologically that happens on the back end. They need time to pitch all the streaming platforms. They need time to pitch Spotify and all of them because they have the relationship, so they know directly who to email it to, you know, or send it to. There's stuff on their end they got to work with, you know. But on top of that, though, that also gives us, meaning the manager and the artist, us time to build up to the release. Like when we release something, I like to make it an event. It has to be an event, like stuff leading up to it, just to build excitement. You know what I'm saying? Like get folks excited. Like you about to release something. Like I want to, Beyonce, look at, you know, and let me say Beyonce with a little caveat in there. Old Beyonce, because Beyonce now she just dropped shit and we all, oh my God. No, we not Beyonce, we can't do that. Like she can do that, but we can't. You know, we have to lead up to it and have shows, have release parties when we open back up, have listening parties, have, you know, certain merch, have videos, have press leading up to it just to build that excitement. One artist that did a phenomenal job at this, Mama Duke. Now, if you guys follow me, you guys may have seen me talk about her. I don't represent her, but she's down in Austin, Texas, and she released her debut album. Oh, shit, when was that? December? I don't know. It was last few months or so. And she had a whole rollout plan schedule. She had a graphic that listed what was going on each day. Like this day, my article going to be released. This day, I have an announcement because I partnered with a juice company, a local juice company. They got a juice made with my ingredients with my face on it. Like, come on now, who does that? This day, I'm going to have a live stream. And this day, it was just so dope. And I'm just like, yes, girl, yes. So it's all about building up that anticipation and then also having stuff to follow the rollout or follow the release as well. You know, this is why a lot of people talk about records for so long. You know, they have content and certain things going on to keep it a talking point, to keep it on top of people's minds. So that's the whole point of it. And the purpose is to have a strategy, to bring it to the forefront and make sure people get excited and just anticipate. If you dropping a song tomorrow, ain't no time for that. Unless you Beyonce, but Beyonce star of us. That's how she do. Like that's her brand. You know, she's so big now to where she's off the scene. We don't see her for a while. So when she pop up, this is like 48 laws of power. There's one of the laws is this. You know, you don't be too common. You know what I'm saying? That's how Jay-Z and her operate. You know, after a while, they just fall off the scene. You only see them at certain events. She does the same with her music. She puts something out, the whole world just blow up because we haven't seen her. Same thing with Rihanna. If Rihanna decides to release music, she gonna shut the whole internet down for that reason. So they can do that, but us, nobody know who we are. We got to build up that anticipation and get people excited about what we drop.
And I love that you did make a point of that when you're saying, we're artists, I need you to understand you're not there yet. So when we're trying to help you build that traction, stop fighting. You don't want to fight with your management team. Like say if the manager doesn't want you to be drinking online, especially when you're at a certain level, especially if you're underage and you're doing certain things. And we're very adamant about not doing these things on the profile because one, you have a responsibility to your audience, and number two, you're not there yet. So you can't take certain risks. Like they say, more money, more problems. As you get higher, then you could take a little bit more risk, but we got to be able to get you there, and it does take time. You know, like I said before, you just really, really, really hit that on the nose because I think a lot of artists, they fail to understand because they get upset because they're saying, well, like such and such is doing it, but you're not them.
You're not them, you know, and I see Joe mention it, and I was thinking this too, like a lot of people, you know, a lot of these artists that drop stuff the next day, that stuff was planned. It was planned months ago. It just looked like it was released. It just looked like a surprise to us. They didn't talk about it, you know, and you know, Beyonce, like she has NDAs up the ass, like Coachella, all that preparation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the preparation for that.
You see what she does when she does her music videos, how secretive she is. So
exactly. So it didn't just pop up tomorrow.
Right.
You know, that was planned.
Right.
So it's so important to keep that in mind. But they're able to do that because there's a demand for it. Whereas us, we got to plan it and let people know that it's coming and build the anticipation. I had somebody, an artist that I had a consult with, and she was like, well, I want to be able to release music tomorrow. And, well, the Bassline group isn't for you, boo. Like, that's what you want to do? You can go and do that. But we plan stuff over here.
Right.
We plan it.
And it's important to work with your team, you know, and because I want to get on that, too, before I lose my train of thought. But it's important to work with your team. You know, it just really, one of the biggest pet peeves of mine is when an artist can reach out to a professional and that professional will give them what they're telling that they should do. And then the rebuttal is, well, I can do it this way. And it's like, well, if you have the answers, why are you reaching out? Like, okay.
That goes back to those challenges. That's why I'm like, I can discuss and talk about business in general and just the music business till I'm blue in the face. But one thing I will not do is argue.
Right.
I will not have an argument over it. I'll just say, okay, and just talk to you tomorrow, girl. We can talk about the weather tomorrow. But I will not argue over the music business because it's a lot of this stuff is factual. You know what I'm saying? Like there's stuff, there's factual. Like I study contracts and legal agreements. So the next video I'm gonna do is gonna be on the Pat and Chan situation. And I said in my stories, like one lawsuit was like 30 pages, the other one was like 20. I said that's like 54 pages of legal documents. I said, y'all give me some time. Give me some time. But I do like people read magazines and blogs and memes. I read this shit. So I'm not going to argue with an artist that saw a meme yesterday and think they know everything.
Right.
But I will have a conversation though. I'll have a nice cordial conversation where I can educate you and we can talk about it. We can discuss it. But I ain't gonna argue. I don't do that.
And one thing, we just not going. Let me tell you something. One thing for me is that made me different, a lot different than some of the people that I deal with, is that growing up, my mother worked with a lot of attorneys, and me and you talked about this. She worked with a lot of attorneys, and so being around attorneys my entire life, understanding the legal language, so I'm familiar with these contracts and reading them. And if again, we don't know everything. So the things that I don't know, I'm asking questions. So, you know,
Or I Google it.
right.
I
You
Google
know,
it.
and so my attorney was like, you know, he's like, Ayana, he said, keep doing it. He said, because again, Reed knows, you know, you just want to do more than the average, you know, because when you have a love for this, it's not work for us. We love this. We dream about this. We wake up in the middle of the night like, oh, I got an idea. I'll just.
I got a note. I got a note in my phone just for that. Wake up in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom, right?
So we one of our things is that we want an artist to be successful. We want to, and if as a manager, if we're making a decision, and we're saying like you're not ready, let's wait for this. A serious manager, and I gotta say serious manager because you got a lot of people who quote unquote put that title on themselves, you know.
Yeah, that's another lie.
That's a whole nother lie. So just make sure that when you get somebody that they serious about what they're doing. Let's just say that.
Exactly.
You know, but no, I mean it's really important for artists to just really understand. We definitely want you to be successful. If we as a management team are saying like, hey, this is not the best decision, or hey, you should not move forward, it's not hating you. It's not trying to block. It's not trying to block anything that's coming your way, because you got to also understand that would make sense for us to block you as an artist with bad intentions, because it's not going to help us. If we block you, we block our check.
Right. Our success, I would say that's one thing that I dislike, is how our success is tied to the artist. And we know sometimes we can't control them, nor maybe we don't want to control them, because they're their own person, which is why, going back to the top of the live, we said we got to like the people that we work with, because our success, no matter how smart we are, no matter how connected we are, our success is tied to the artist. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not the other way around. Some of the artists think that their success is tied to the manager. No, because you're going to know the artist before you know the manager.
Right.
So our success is tied to them.
Absolutely.
So we got to be careful of that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something. I know me as an artist, I mean, I'm an artist manager, you know, I definitely have learned some hard lessons. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you dealt with some of the things that we deal with as an artist manager, and you're still doing this and you still love it, this is for you. Mm-hmm. Because I'm talking about going through some hard things, you know, and it can be rough. I mean, also too, keep in mind that when you are soliciting for managers, don't just send the blind emails with just the link. I don't understand that. You just send an email.
Don't send me a link at all.
I don't even understand. You won't even introduce yourself, Patrice. You just gonna send me a link.
Exactly. Have a conversation with me first. And I'm gonna shout out, I'm gonna shout her out. Jordan. Hello, Jordan. That's her Instagram. Hello, and it's JRDAN. She reached out to me just on some general, I love you content, this, that, and that, and there's just some general conversation. You know, and I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. Then she emailed me, and then she emailed me like real professional, gave me a description of the song, and I haven't released it yet, but, you know, I hope it's something that I think you would like it, and, you know, I can see that you're a fan of music. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Like, don't come to me looking for something. Build a relationship with me first. Mm-hmm. You know, because I'm like so serious. I'm not gonna work with you unless I like you.
We gotta be able to like you.
I talk to my artist, Ken, I talk to damn near every day. Mm-hmm. I talked to him about 3 times already this past weekend. Okay. And then I'm gonna see him tomorrow. Mm-hmm. The one in Canada, we text all the time, but I talk to her bi-weekly. We have bi-weekly strategy sessions or strategy meetings. Mm-hmm. But we text all the time. Mm-hmm. The one in Florida, the big artist, I talk to her throughout the week. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be working with you. Mm-hmm. Like we gonna be buddies. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna know all your business. Mm-hmm. So I have to like you. So you sending me a link don't mean anything to me. It don't.
If you send us a link, number one, we don't know you. So 99.9% of the time, we're not going to click on that link. We don't know if there's a virus. And then we're also not going to back up our systems with all this storage for with unsolicited music. So that's number one. Do not just send random links. That's one. Two, you want to introduce yourself. Keep it very, very brief. Keep it very, very brief. Keep it 2 to maybe 3 sentences. What it is that you're trying to do. Also, you want to make sure that your intro is not, I need a manager so I can get to the next level. That screams at us that, oh goodness, it's like, that's not how it works. And that lets us know, like, you don't understand the process of the business.
I'm like, don't even come at me talking about what that you need me. I don't like. I hate to sound so harsh, but it's so real. But then what I'm talking about, like, if you can't relate, like, if anybody watching, if y'all can't relate to what I'm saying, you are not human. Like,
right.
You're not human.
Fact.
It's one-sided. It's one-sided. I had somebody reach out to me not too long ago and just said, hey, I'm such and such. I watched your videos. I checked out your site. I think you would be a good fit for me. Send me an email or something. And I'm like, huh? I said, I'm going to let it sit here for a minute and I'm going to go back and look at it because maybe I'm tweaking. And I'm like, no, he didn't. You don't. That's like me approaching somebody. I see a girl, guy, whoever, and just be like, yeah, I checked you out. You look good. I looked at your profile. You look good. I think, you would be a good fit for me, or I will be a good fit for you. Holla at me. You don't know what she's interested in.
Right.
You don't know what she like. You don't even know if she's married. Like, you don't know anything about her, right? Like, how you know that you a good fit for me?
Right.
You just telling me what you like over here. That's cool. But how maybe you're not a good fit for me? How do we know that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a video where I talk about 4 things that I look for in an artist.
I saw that.
I put that out.
Share that.
I said I have to like you.
Mm-hmm.
I have to like your music. Otherwise, what we doing? You got to have a work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot the 4th one. But shit, I forgot the 4th one.
Yeah.
But anyway,
forget. You said
right. I want to pull it up. Listen, but work ethic. I gotta like you. Gotta like your music. What was the marketable?
Was it brandable?
Yep.
You got
marketable. Got to be marketable. Yep. So I have to like you. I have to like your music. You got to be marketable, meaning that there's an audience for what it is that you have, and then work ethic, because I refuse to outwork an artist. Do you know how many inquiries I got from that video? People in my DMs. And just thinking like, yeah, I watched your video and it sounds like I will be a good fit. How do you know that you are a good fit if the number one thing I look for is if I like you?
Right.
My number one thing is I gotta like you. How do you know that you are a good fit? You haven't sparked a conversation with me.
But let's go even deeper. What makes people think that we are that desperate for artists? You
think that's what it is? Desperation?
I think.
Well, yeah.
I think a lot of people think that managers are really hurting for artists for some reason, and I think a lot of artists don't realize that it's so many artists out here, so many artists. So managers aren't hurting for artists. We just have to analyze the artists. We just have to pick those artists because there's certain things that, like Patrice says, that we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Now, see, for me, I look at it both ways.
Really?
I look at it both ways. Like, yes, there's a lot of artists, but there's also a lot of managers too.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's why I look at it. I look at it as a two-way street. Because at the end of the day, with our success being tied to them, we need each other at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
it's a marriage. Like
Yes, it
let's go
is.
back. Let's use
Yes, it
marriage
is.
and relationships as an analogy because that's what clicks with people. It's a marriage.
Yeah, it is.
If you saying you like me and you want to marry me, how do you know if I want to marry you? It has to work both ways because we gotta build this life as a couple together. You know, and that's my whole thing is just the one-sidedness.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then not only that too, I think people need to also understand is that, like you said, when it comes down to communication, I don't do well with excuses. So artists, you know, we as managers, we shouldn't have to chase you down. You know, we shouldn't have to figure out like what's going on. Like I didn't text you. I called you a month ago. I actually have a clause in my contract that when that's how bad it is. So if artists do that, there are actions that I have in place when you know there's no communication, and there is no excuse for it. You know, you can't get through my phone. Send me an email. You know what I'm saying? Or send me a DM. You know, it's just no excuse for it. And so,
right.
You know, again, a lot of these artists, they again, this is the reality, guys. So I don't want to seem like, you know, oh, they're bashing artists, you know. So, you know, and it's just the it's just the reality of what, you know, what we deal with. And hey, if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. If the shoe fits, wear it and fix it. You know.
Yeah.
And I mean that's so important. I can't even stress that enough. Another thing that I get a lot in my emails, this week, again, I got an email from this person who submitted music with 149 other email addresses attached to it. Artists, please do not do that.
Delete.
Please do not do that. And just like Patrice said, you know how many people will not even, it will automatically go into the delete folder. Someone responded to the email and said no one's interested. I said, oh my God.
Oh. They replied all.
I said, oh my God.
They replied all.
That's just not the way that you want to do it. So
yeah.
you want to also make sure too that don't have the attitude that the manager, well, that's why I got a manager. Aren't they supposed to do this? Let me explain something to you guys. If you've ever worked a corporate job or any other job, when you get your job offer letter and they said, okay, we're going to pay you $25 an hour, and you get your check, and I know I've said this before, and you get your check and you only been paid at $10, $15 an hour, you're not going to shrug your shoulder and say, well, that's up to my manager. I don't handle that part of the business. No. You're going to be your manager like a winter time. So that's how you got to be in your business. This is your business. Why would you not want to be in your business?
Yeah. Yep, it's your business and your career. And I'm the type where I look at artists as partners. Like, that's why I always use the marriage analogy quite a bit, because I look at partners. I look at them as partners. And if they're young and they're looking to me as like the mentor to guide them, that's cool. Because then I can develop and mentor you into becoming a partner. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no hierarchy in this. That's how I feel. Like, there's no hierarchy. And this is why I'm so selective. Like, I'm not, even though we say we work for them, because essentially we do, but I don't operate that way. It's a partnership. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it is, you know. And I just feel like, people just need to be mindful of that. You know, we need each other. We working together. We building a business together. But at the end of the day, it's your business. You're the face of it. You know, it's like I'm trying to think of a brand with a mascot like KFC. You Colonel Sanders. You know what I'm saying? This is you KFC. This you Colonel Sanders. You know, and I'm the CEO or the COO or whatever, operating the business in the back. But this is your business and you're the face of it. But we got to work together, and you have to know your business. You can't just run away from it. You can't say, "Oh, my manager got that," because I'm not the flunky, and I'm not the assistant.
Right.
I'm not the flunky or the assistant. I'm going to educate you, you know, along the way. I'm not going to keep nothing from you. I'm not going to pull no shade over your eyes. You're going to know everything that's going on because this is your business. You know, a lot of people think, like even my one artist, I talk about him like Ken, people think he's my puppet, you know, The people think that I tell him to do certain stuff. No, Ken. He, like I said, he came with a trademark publishing company. He's more involved in the business than a lot of people think that he is. You know, you just think of me as the business, which I am, and he the artist, but he involved in the business and he wants to be. You know, he say he wanna he wanna partner with me on Bassline. Like I'm like, I don't know about that yet. I don't know.
Hold on, wait, sir.
It's a little too much now. Wait a minute, slow your roll. But who knows? Who knows where I'll be 5-10 years from now? At that point, he'll be pushing 30. He'll be more mature. Maybe he'll be a little further aligned in business. Who knows? Maybe I'll let him run the company and work with other artists, and then I fall back and retire and sip my mimosas and whatnot with Diddy and them. You know, who knows? But he's involved in the business, and that's how I like it. I want all my artists to understand the business so that way they're set up for the long term.
And one of the things I do want to expand on as well, just like you said, a partnership. And I also need artists to understand that you have to come in there with a partnership attitude and a partnership behavior. You can't come in with the so for example, and any new artists, any new managers that are listening to this and thinking about doing management, you need to understand that, number one, it is not your responsibility to pay for anything for an artist brand.
Yes.
That's number one. That's where the partnership can become unaligned. And I always explain a lot of things to the artists as well. You can't come in with that partnership negotiation attitude when you haven't even contributed financially or physically to your brand. So that's so important.
Yep.
Because it isn't your brand at that point.
I ain't putting my money up unless you putting yours up.
Right. You know, and so we need you to also understand that. And then also, I seen a video. Someone was saying, I can't remember who it was, that said, there's no reason why anyone should use finesse in this day and age. And I said, okay, with all the information that's available. Yeah. Because you can look it up online. You can go to, whether it be YouTube University, whether it be Google, you can look this information up and to ask these questions. So it's so important. And so when you are reaching out to us, you know, like Patrice said, I don't think people understand that there is over 100,000 songs released every day from around the world, you guys.
Every day.
So why would you think that your music is just so special? Because there's a lot of other dope artists out there, you know? So I really need you guys to really understand as far as the likability. It's so important. It's not just, and then also know your audience when you're dealing with your managers. Why would you send me a hip hop track if you don't even know I do hip hop?
Right.
Maybe I'm a country manager.
It's going back to relationships. You got to know who you're trying to date. You got to date. You know, everybody want to rush to the altar. Yeah. And the honeymoon.
Yeah, you're right.
No, if an artist reach out to me, I want them to date me. Like, I want them to, like, straight up, like, let's talk. Let's get to know each other. Let's have conversation.
Thanks,
and then, you know.
I'm sorry. No, thanks for saying.
Yeah, I'll see you.
We appreciate you too. Thanks for joining. And it'll be on my platform, so you'll be able to go back and look at it. And I think that's what it says, Fab BD.
Fab D. But yeah, I'm just like, man, just date. Let's date. Let's have a conversation. Yeah, we don't need to rush to the altar tomorrow. Let's talk. Ain't no rush. You know, get to know what I like. You know what I'm saying? Because even though my timeline, and this is the thing, a lot of people don't do their research. Even though my timeline is very curated with the posts and the pictures and everything, I'm a hot mess in my stories. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hot mess, and I make I do that on purpose. I want to see who's paying attention. You know, like if my cat acting the fool, I will post his crazy act. Right. Like, you know,
I'm laughing because you ain't lying. I'll be like, oh,
this little nigga. If he acting a fool, I'll put some. I'm gonna see who's paying attention, you know,
Right.
because who knows, somebody else may have a cat that's acting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can have a conversation about our crazy ass cats.
Right.
Cool. You know, like, so it's like I show more of my life, what I do, and stuff like that in my stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's plenty of opportunity for people to go see what I'm into,
Right.
you know, or what I'm doing or talking about. So it's like, let's see who's paying attention and really want to invest in having a relationship with me. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's so
Mhm.
important. And you're right, because like later on tonight, I was invited somewhere, so I'm gonna be taking some pictures from a mansion. So I'm gonna be getting some beautiful little footage,
Yeah. All right now.
and posting, you know. So I just, like I said, I think that artists just need to understand that we're always thinking of new ways. We're always thinking about expanding the relationships that we have. What else
Mm-hmm.
can we do? How to service other people? Even for myself, um, as I'm going back to school this summer for radio and television production. So that opens
Mm-hmm.
up the film area, that I'm looking at for artists, start getting some internships and things like that. We're always thinking of things, and we're always trying our best to think out of the box.
Yep.
It's so
That's an
important.
entrepreneur mindset.
Yes.
Because we don't have a check every 2 weeks from a job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There is no that. We got to build our own company. We don't get a check from our company.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not there yet,
Mm-hmm.
and even still, you probably still won't get a check. We have to always constantly think of how we can leverage something and make it business,
Mm-hmm.
I think about
Mm-hmm.
that all, like, okay, I go to the barber shop. I'm thinking about what can I do for the barber so that way if he get a client, because I know he cut such and such hair, I seen this artist in his chair. So, like, it's always stuff like that. It's just an entrepreneur mindset.
It really is. It really is. So
Mhm.
before it gets too late, let me go ahead and go back to the questions, because I know we had a couple of questions. Give me a second, you guys, because there was one at the very top. I was like, I know you're gonna be like, did she get my question? Okay, hold on. So let me. And thank everybody for joining. I really appreciate it. Double X says she wanted to be under your wing. I'm not sure who she's talking about. So one of the questions was for Double X, Katie. How can an artist like myself get your attention?
Oh yeah, we already talked
Yeah,
about
we
that.
covered
So
that.
hopefully she watches the replay and if she made it here, she heard heard what we
Yeah,
said
she heard
about
everything.
dating.
And it was another one from earlier. That was a good question. At the very top. Let's see. Hold on.
I think it was from her.
There was another. I have a lot to check. Okay, got that.
Donald Passman book.
Yes, that was the one I'm looking
Yeah.
for. Can you read that question, Patrice?
I got it. Outside of Donald Passman's book, what are some good resources to learn the business? We kind of touched on that. I would say YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, definitely there's some stuff on Instagram, but if you're looking at books and resources, what I personally don't read a lot of music business books. I like to read books by like autobiographies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have Kevin Hart's, I got Charlemagne, I got L.A. Reid, Clive Davis. I like to read about their journey because there's always stuff to learn there. But to learn about the business,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any business. I got a book here, Introduction to the Music Industry. Just anything that's talking about the music industry, read it.
And I think the best way to learn about the business by getting involved in your business.
Yeah, getting
Be
involved
involved
in the
in your
business
business.
and reading any public. Like I got a friend in the music business, the ASCAP story. Like any music business book, read it because here's the thing: even music publishing is real, is weird. And it literally took me years to fully grasp publishing and how it works, to the point where now I can explain it to my 8-year-old nephew and he'll get it. But it took me a good 6-7 years to fully grasp it. And it's because of how it's communicated. Depending on depending on the source, they can make it real complicated with all the legalese terms and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Or you can read about it and learn about it by someone that just breaks it down very simple. So I had to learn and read about it over and over again from different sources because everybody explained it different until it clicked. So Donald Passman is good. A lot of people talk about that book, but sometimes even that book can go over people's heads. It's good to have to reference, but I would say any book that looks interesting enough, that has music business or learning about the business in the title, read it. As long as you can open it up and you know it can make sense to you, read it. Because they all say the same thing. It's just said different.
Right.
You know? Right. So yeah, that's my answer on that one.
Right about that. Double Katie, Double X Katie, she got some good questions. She said, how was he able to keep his catalog? And I'm assuming that was an artist that you was talking about before.
Yeah, but she was talking about Russ. Russ was able to keep his catalog because he negotiated. He had the leverage. Russ built up his leverage in his audience and fan base. He had gotten his own booking agent, Kara Lewis. He he built up his own business and infrastructure before he even worked with the label. So when he went to the label, he's like, I already did all this shit on my own. What y'all gonna do for me? You know, and he was like, all right, in exchange for that, I get to keep my catalog. Y'all can't touch that. And he could do that because he could easily walk away and be fine. He wasn't desperate. So that's how he was able to keep it. He built himself up to the point where he could demand that. Like, this is my work. I built this. You know?
And you said that, and I mean, man, you touched on that so perfectly. You were right. And it goes back to what we talked about with regards to the leverage. You know, a lot of these artists want to bust in the door and they want to do a Jay-Z negotiation deal or a Snoop deal, you know, or a Little Kim deal or Nicki Minaj deal. You got to get there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Your leverage ain't there.
Right. I want a Russ deal. That's what I want, but we're going to have to work towards that. We got to work towards it because he talked about his TuneCore be $100,000 every week. I'm like, $100,000 every week?
Look, we already like, let me
I'm like, let me pull up this calculator. Let's run some what? What? That's insane. Russ did an interview with I want to say Drink Champs. It's not them. Gilly the Kid and Wallow. What's their podcast called?
I don't know the name, but I know what you're talking about.
He was just on there, and he said he got started with like $2,500.
Yeah.
You know, the laptop, the mic, the program, the laptop is what ate up that $2,500. And a lot of us, we got laptops, so we just gotta get the mic and then the program and go to work. He said that's all he had. He was like, that song went triple platinum, and then I did that on it. I'm like, $100,000 a week though? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I look for in artists. Who's gonna help? Who's gonna get us there?
Right.
Who's talented and driven enough to get us there? Because whatever they can bring, I'm gonna match that shit because I'm ready to go. you know what I'm saying? So that's what I look for. Because Russ, $100,000 a week. Come on now, that's crazy.
I seen his interview on Drink Champs. I said, boy, I said, talk to him, Russ. Talk to him. You know, because some of the things a lot of the things that he's talking about, all the things that he's talking about is just relevant. It's just like, dude, are you listening to this dude? Like, listen, y'all. And I love the fact too, in Drink Champs, he was talking about how he had chased Karen Civil, it wasn't like he physically chased her, but he was just like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I know who you are," because he was so focused about the team. He knew who the team members were, and you don't hear a lot about that. A lot of the artists are focused on the other artists versus who the actual team people are. And so
Yep.
I always find that intriguing. Like, oh, okay, it's like
I'm the opposite.
Right. I'm like, shoot, no, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I'm the opposite. I couldn't tell you nothing about no artist, but I can tell you who manage him.
Right. Who the photographer is, who the videographer is, who the sound engineer is. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, people just gotta understand that. So make sure I don't miss nobody. Joe says, "Damn, black women rock. I learned so much from y'all." Oh, thank you so much, Joe.
Joe's so cool.
A real Mary baby said the who you know in the industry. And we talked about that earlier. Honestly, it's not about who you know. You can come into this industry and not know anybody. Matter of fact, Russ has talked about that in a lot of his interviews. And they was like, he said, I knew zero. I didn't know anybody. So it's about, can you get into the room? And like Patrice said, and once you get into the room, can you stay in the room? Yep. So that's really,
I didn't know anybody either. I didn't know anybody either. And I'm from Detroit. Like, my parents and folks, my mom's friends, whatever, they grew up in the Motown era. I don't know anybody. Ain't nobody give me a ticket. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I moved to Chicago, I moved here. I didn't know anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went out, I went to events, I hung out, met people, networking. Oh, you do this, you do that. Oh, let's go get coffee. Let's hang out. Let's do, you just got to get out here, and get in the room, meet them, have conversations with them, but, figure out a way to stay in it. You got to figure out a way to stay in the room once you're in there, but you got to get yourself in the room first.
Absolutely.
But you don't need no relationships. Like, it's not, they say this, the who you know and money. Yes, you're going to need money, but peep this. If you got money, you can know anybody.
Right. Because the money's going to get you in those rooms.
Exactly. Some of the rooms cost for you to get in there.
You better talk.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole nother line. Like, I'm the type, I'll fly out to a conference and pay a good grip to go to a conference just because who's in there. For example, ASCAP Expo. Love ASCAP Expo. I'm not no songwriter. That's what it's for. That's the songwriter's paradise, right? But because they have such a high ticket price, some heavy hitters gonna be there. So I saved up my money and I took my butt out there. And they're in LA. Went out there. I've been out there twice. Met all kind of different people. Met all kind of celebrities, and they just out there chilling, hanging out, like regular folks. CeCe Peniston, like she walked by me, and I'm looking at her. She's staring at me, and I'm just like, for one, she was real pretty, so I'm looking like, and then I said, "You look so familiar," and she said, "Hi, I'm CeCe." I was like, "Oh shit." She's just out there like every day, like regular old people, So you gotta pay to get in the rooms, but then you gotta bring some value too, So this is why I know so many people in the industry in various parts of the world. It's for that reason. Did she keep on walking? Y'all crazy.
It's so funny.
Did she keep on walking?
Oh, and then Kenna, the Kyna, the spelling of the first name, says must take chances to see the works. Yes. And then Joe, promo videos for your artists.
With the gear.
With the gear.
Yeah. When I was talking about the gear, promo videos, I will so do that.
Yes, but also too, again, remember, you want to make sure that there's a strategy as well, because if not, you'll have them artists just throwing stuff out there.
All right, we just be shooting just to be shooting.
Okay, Joe just saying some other stuff about Coachella. Got you. Gotta go for now. Got you. Did I miss anybody else? What's the benefit? What's the benefit of being under a label in this day and age? It seems like they're good for it's taking a cut of your profits. Now, you know what? Let me say something about this, because I got it. This is the language that we talk about with artists say this. When they say it looks like they're just taking some of your profits. So I really want to address that, because when you say taking, let's be careful about how we're saying that. Is an artist coming with anything? If you're not coming with something and you're not coming with value, they're not taking anything, because you didn't bring anything to begin with. So they have to be recouped for what they spent, and then they got to get a return on their investments. So that's very important. Also, and then I'll turn it over to Patrice. Also, I think that being with the label is not a bad thing. It's a lot of people signing labels that people really don't realize how many artists are signed to labels. Being signed to a label is not necessarily a bad thing, because they can leverage relationships globally, you know, and so they probably can be able to put you on that world tour that you wouldn't be able to get on, you know, by yourself, because you're signed under a label. So I mean, there's some good things with regards to the label, even also with the marketing aspect. It just really depends on what value do you bring, and what is your negotiation level. I mean, Patrice, what do you think?
Yep. A couple things. For one, I did a video on it a couple years ago. I posted it recently too. Should you sign to a label? It really depends on your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to answer this question on what's the benefit of being under a label in this day and age, it seems like they're only good for taking a cut of your profits now. No. They take a cut of your profits because they have to make their money back.
Mm-hmm.
The benefit of being under a label is that they can bring resources to the table that you can't bring yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And T-Pain did a video not too long ago, and I shared it in my stories, but I might clip it and put it in my timeline. And he was like, a label, he said, you don't see anything bad about him. You don't think anything bad of a label.
Right.
He's like, a label bring money, they bring resources, they have a whole department, not a marketing manager. They have a whole marketing department working your stuff, and then they have money to pay for everything. Y'all know how much it costs to be in the studio and to make videos and all this other stuff. That costs money.
Yep.
Who got $1 million for your video?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't just take a cut of your profits, they invest money.
Mm-hmm.
And then they take a cut of your profits so they can make their money back. T-Pain said it, so I love how he said it, though, how he articulated. He's like, you mean to tell me, because he was telling the artist, like, you mean to tell me somebody give you $14 million and you just expect them to give it to you? Like,
right.
They gotta make their money back. It was so cool how he said it with his voice and everything. But that's what they're good for. But here's the thing, you control what you sign. You know what I'm saying? You control it. Just because someone give you a deal or present one to you doesn't mean that you have to take it.
Mm-hmm.
You can negotiate it,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to have something worth negotiating. You know, so it requires you to put some work in. You got to work. You know, no one's just going to give you money for nothing and not get a cut. You know, it's not going to happen.
And it's no, go ahead. No, because it's a hot topic. It's a hot topic.
I know. I'm about to go eat. No, go ahead. That's it.
This hot topic. Because I need you all to understand this. You know, you need to ask some questions. Somebody telling you, I'm going to put you up in an apartment. You know, you're not paying, you ain't fit on no rental agreement. You know, if somebody, quote unquote, giving you a car, you know, that car ain't in your name, you know.
Right.
And even if you all the way down to dinner, if you want to ask some people, you know, if you're going out to dinner, is this going to be on my artist budget? There's nothing wrong with asking that question, you know, because it's a fair question. Like Patrice said, when you go into the studio, that costs money.
It costs money. Yeah.
Recording, mixing and master, producing, beats, videographer, music videos, photographers,
Yeah.
legal agreements that's got to be drafted and reviewed by an attorney.
Even the lawyer get a cut because he looking over everybody has to get paid. No one is going to work for you for free,
right,
and not get a cut of something. Even the attorney get a cut of the advance.
Mm-hmm.
Russ even talked about it. Like, he was like, an attorney, they get 3% or whatever, to look over the contract and negotiate for you and stuff like that. And that's what it goes back to what I was talking about. The challenge is understanding the business.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just general business here.
Mm-hmm.
No one is going to give you anything without getting something back,
Mm-hmm.
outside of your parents, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes even them look for you to pay them back.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
mm-hmm.
like buying a house. If you buy a house,
Mm-hmm.
you don't buy that house outright. You get a mortgage on it. They giving you a loan. They giving you a loan. And they taking some of your profits to pay off that loan. Some of your profits is your paycheck.
That's right.
They're going to take some of your paycheck. Now, you're willingly paying that mortgage every
Mm-hmm.
month, but it's still a cut of your profits from your job.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? If you don't pay them back, you don't pay that mortgage, guess what happens? They're going to take that house back.
That's so basically, our artists, I need you to understand, on that mortgage, on that title, the label is on that title. Even though your house is you, the artist, but until you paid for that house, you don't own that house.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's why artists say it takes them so many years before they saw money. Big Sean said it when he did his little live with Fat Joe. He said it took him 3 years. He said he didn't see no money till 3 years in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they invested all that money in him up front. He had to pay it back before he started seeing money.
Mm-hmm.
But would we know Big Sean if it wasn't for the label?
Okay.
So it's like there's pros and cons. Like,
it is.
A label could take you somewhere that you can't take yourself.
Right.
Which is why everybody signed with them. Like Russ signed and did his thing and got back out. He negotiated a good deal. They got the relationships and the connections to take you somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm saying. Like with Big Sean, yeah, it took him 3 years, but would we even know who he was if it wasn't for the label? So there's some give and take there. It's not all about them taking.
Yeah.
You just got to be smart when you go in the room with them.
It's not all about like, oh, this person, they done robbed me. They done took my, and it's just like, how did they take something from you when you started your career unemployed? Let me stop. You started your career unemployed. Where the money? Like, you know, something, you know, just like I said, just remember, you know, do your research. Do your research. There was another question in here from BB. Was it BBL? I think it was. They asked how much does a social media manager cost? What's the average for a social media manager?
Oh, I'm trying to find out myself because I done seen and heard so many different amounts. I would say that it depends on who you hire. I've seen managers, social media managers, as low as like $500 a month, but they didn't know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen also social media managers charging upwards to $3,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a lot more stuff: graphic design, video edits, and managing 6 different social media platforms, and they running ads too. So the role itself is a big role, and there's a lot of responsibilities under that role. So it really depends on who's doing it, their experience level, and what they're doing. Just like any job. Is this an entry-level job, or is this like a senior role? You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with social media managers. There's levels to it.
And I'm glad that you said that as well too. But let's also remember too, when you're doing social media managers, I cannot stress this enough. Please don't a la carte your career.
Right.
Please don't a la carte your career. You want to make sure that you have, and you don't have to have this big, huge team. You can have some very small. You can have a very, very small team. But don't try to because I'm going to tell you, you're going to cause more damage than anything, because you're going to have to do so much more work had you just had these people in place from the beginning. So you don't want to
Don't try to pick pick around, and then you do this, they do this, and then but you trying to do every. Just have a team of people that help get everything together and organized for you, as opposed to picking and choosing and doing stuff yourself. Like even me, and that's one of the, and I understand how some may have to do all this in the beginning, like because you got to get there, you got to make your money. Even me, this is why I know so much. There's a lot of things that I had to do myself, or I did for my artists, which is why I know about publishing and all that graphic design, web design, all of that. But you're gonna get to a point where you're better off doing other stuff and hiring people to do all this other little stuff. You know, because that's what it's all about, is freeing you up so that way you can remain in your creative space.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, just be smart about it.
And then also too, a lot of times people think consultations are scams. We're here to tell you that consultations are not scams. Consultation fees are not scams. Just like how you would reach out to an attorney and they're going to have a consultation fee, or you reach out to an accountant, they're going to have a consultation fee. It is no different than when you're reaching out to industry professionals. Again, this is the music business. So you're paying for their time, you're paying for their expertise. And this is to review and analyze what you're presenting to them to see what they can do to help you. What's the best strategy? What you laughing about? Go ahead and say it.
I agree with you, but I gotta ask, some consultations do be scams though.
Oh yeah, we don't talk about them though.
Okay,
go ahead. No, yeah, but you right to expand on that. Go ahead.
Make sure you do your research on folks.
Yes.
And know who they are, know what they do, who they do it for, how they do it. Because I'm quick to try to pull up a YouTube video or one of these to see who these people are. This is why I'm so visual. I like to put stuff out because I want people to see who I am. Because there's so many folks out here that scamming folks. Like,
yes.
They scam, like, it's crazy. I know a buddy of mine, he wanted to work. He was just curious. He was like, yeah, this chick, she was featured on Spotify or something. Like, I want to do a consultation with her. And he said, girl, she ain't do shit. I wasted my money. And I was like, that's crazy. But again, then I went and did research on her. I couldn't find much on her. Like, to judge her character. Like, do she really know what she's doing? She just got a look from Spotify. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people out here that hide behind logos. Spotify, Apple. I got an Empire sweatshirt. Let me wear that. Let me take a picture in front of the QC wall. You know what I'm saying? And trying to build that clout. And people think that they're credible because of that, but not really. You know, some of the most credible people aren't even on social media.
Say that again. Patrice, can you say that one more time?
Some of the most credible and accomplished people in the music industry aren't even on social media. Like, honestly, like the people I look up to, I'll go pull up their Instagram and they sharing pictures of their family. Or their pages may be private with like maybe 20 followers because it's their family. But you know who they are because you done did your research. They got their LinkedIn profile saying who they are and what they do, or they've been featured on Billboard or Music Business Worldwide, you know. But yeah, the most powerful, most connected, credible people aren't even on social media like that. So yeah, do your homework on folks before you spend your money.
Absolutely. And who's this? Oh man, he said his thanks for the response. He said my question was in the context of being in these times. You can get yourself out through social media, etc.
Get yourself hot through social media.
You know.
Oh, with the label. He asked the label. That was a label question. And okay,
that was a label question. But again, you still can't. There's still things that you're not going to be able to do that the label's going to be able to do. You know,
you can get high. Yeah, you can get high with social media, but it can only take you so far.
It can only take you so far. And like I said before, but you still have to get that leverage up there. Like you got, you know, like I said, me and Patrice talking about Russ. You know, when he's done his interviews, you know, he's with the label.
Yeah, well, yeah, he built his foundation on social
That's
media,
right.
but he wanted more, and he went to the label. Now he's off the label, and he's okay.
Right.
So and that's what I'm saying. Like everybody's journey is so different because it
It
depends
is.
on their goals.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get yourself hot on social media, and that may be good for you. You
Mm-hmm.
may be cool depending on what you're making. You may say
Mm-hmm.
that's I'm good right here. This is I want to, I'm good on
Mm-hmm.
social media. I'm hot here. Let me sell some t-shirts. I do my shows. I'm good. But there's other people that may want to blow up. Maybe they want to be charted,
Mm-hmm.
You just never know. So it really depends on their goals and what it is that they're trying to achieve.
And then also too, you got to remember as well, it's like you, and then at this point you have to decide what's more important, clout or money.
Right.
And so, and I'm not saying that to say like don't use social media, because obviously you have to use that for your brand. But I also need you to understand there's artists on here that have over 100,000 followers is verified, but they can't sell 10 tickets.
Right.
So followers don't equate to ticket holders.
Right.
So artists also need to understand that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really important. So yeah, like I said before, you can definitely get some clout. You can definitely get some fame, but are you worried about the clout or are you worried about the check clearing?
Right. Right.
I mean, that's so important. It's so much, there's so much money to be made, but you got to be willing to work as a team.
Exactly. You got to. You got to. Otherwise, it ain't gonna work.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. So we know we're running into the evening. We're gonna give you guys a few more minutes. We're running to like about 8:30, just in case you guys have any more questions for us before we call it a night. Because we know, y'all on the East Coast, y'all like, oh, it's late, and in the mid, because it's
They
early.
probably knocked out. Someone was like, I'm going to bed, y'all. Someone was like, I'm going to bed.
Right. And I wanted to have this conversation. I wanted you guys to, get familiar with Patrice. If you're not already familiar with Patrice, definitely go to the Bassline group. Go ahead and check her out on the Bassline group, but definitely go ahead and get her consultation. It's so important. Not that she needs any promo with regards to that, but I feel like, have your brand ready, let her review it, see what it is that, she could possibly offer you, or whether it be tips or whatnot. So it's important. Oh, who's the old man? You're welcome. We're so happy to provide you with response and advice. Like I said, we just here trying to help y'all.
All right.
The ones that, and let you all know, kind of a little bit how we operate, because you got to be likable.
Got to. Otherwise, what we doing?
You got to be likable.
Real.
Likable is important as cooking food. I don't want somebody.
Oh, somebody talked about books. Hold on. Wait a minute. Look who we talk about. Look who book I got.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Another revenue stream for him.
Okay.
Hello.
Like I said, it's gotta be likable.
That's the stuff I read.
See, I love it.
DJ Khaled, The Keys. That's just within reach, but I got other stuff.
But that's great that you show that, because it shows these artists revenue streams.
Yep.
It's revenue streams. I mean, you guys need to really understand. We want you to be successful. We know it's going to get frustrating. Do you think that we don't go through these stages? I've gone through it. Like, what am I doing this for? They don't listen anyway. I should just go and throw the towel in. We all
we all go through it.
Yes.
Yeah. We all go through it. But I feel good with my little group. I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll see how it go. It's just part of the business.
It's just part of the business.
It's part of the business, It's only the strong will survive.
It's part of the business. It's part of the process. We love what we do. Even like I said, I do have a couple of artists that they're definitely working on some things. And like I said before, it's just a process. And the best way to get frustrated with your process is by watching someone else's process. You want to get frustrated, you look at somebody else that's succeeding, and you're going to get frustrated. You got to stop doing
Yep.
that.
Yep.
You got to
Real
stop doing
talk.
it. You know, also be responsive to your emails, people. Check your emails. Business is done through emails. So when you're sending the emails and people are sending you an email, respond, follow up on these emails. If you're not following up, that's a number one red flag that we know that you're not serious. You can't respond to an email. You know, like how?
Insane.
But you want to be on a Breakfast Club next weekend.
How you think they got booked? Via email. You got booked via email. That's how I got scheduled.
Like I said, only if you guys knew what goes on behind the scenes. And you're like, oh, you know, like I said, we really want you guys to be successful. We want you to be successful. We want to be part of that success. But most importantly, we want you to be eager about learning about the business, learning about your business. It's so important, you guys. So important. Okay,
Question.
so Joe said, Patrice, how do you feel about Matthew Knowles retiring from the music business?
Honestly, Joe, I knew it was coming. Yeah, I'm surprised he waited this long to announce it. When I worked with him, he was trying to inch his way out of the music business. Yeah, we didn't talk about it, but he said his goal was to retire from the music business and do other stuff. Back then, that's when I worked with. He was working on Knowles Institute, and it's in my stories too, in the highlights. I promoted it. He was trying to develop like an online e-learning platform for the music business. He's all about education, and he teaches at Texas Southern University, and yeah, he was doing that. He had a couple other investment deals he was working on, but yeah, he was trying to get out then. He said Blush, which was the girl group he was working with at the time that I started working with too when I came on. He wanted them to be the last group. So I knew it was coming. I'm surprised it took him this long. He old though. Let me say that. He is old. Like Mr. Knowles is like, he like pushing 70. Yeah, I think he just turned 69. Like, I know him and my mom around the same age, and I'm just like, he is old. Like, my mom retired 3-4 years ago. Let that man retire. It's okay.
Right. He done lived him a nice life. You know,
Shit,
he done lived life to its fullest. Like, let him, you know, he like, I'm tired. I'm tired.
He is old.
And let them tell, they gonna be like, we ain't old, baby. That ain't old. I still got some.
Man, yeah, I don't blame him. But we already knew that's what he was doing. We knew it. Like, I'm shocked that it took this long. So I'm glad he said it. And honestly, with COVID and everything, it's the right time. Like,
yes.
It's the right time, especially for somebody like him that's been in the game so long. The game is different. And I'm surprised he stayed in the game this long, because some people I know that was a part of the music industry from higher levels got out the music industry. Now they teach and do other stuff and real estate and all kind of stuff. He stayed in. You know, he stayed in it while doing other stuff. So I'm surprised he stayed in the industry this long. But I think it's dope. I'm excited for him. I might send him an email tomorrow, just saying congrats.
Right. So
now I'm getting these questions come in.
Right. Mild Genius has a question. They said, I'm an artist. I work a full-time job, which is very stressful. How do I balance that with working on music? I'll let you answer that first, Patrice.
Time management. That's the only way to manage it. That's the only way to balance it and manage it, is just by managing your time. You work a full-time job. So then I would say weekends is music, and then a couple nights during the week is music. And there you go. I didn't remember, you saw that I didn't say every day of the week at night when you get off work. Couple nights a week and the weekends, you know, because you got to have time in there to rest and unplug and take a break from everything. But it's just a matter of just managing your time and, managing and setting time for yourself too. It's tough. It is. Like, I've done it. I've worked 2 jobs and or worked a full-time job and did the Bassline group and all of that. How I quit and just did full-time Bassline group, I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. I wouldn't recommend that. I jumped.
Right.
I jumped. Okay, but I have no responsibilities, so I could do that.
Right.
I made sure
we jump.
I made sure I kept my life very simple for that reason, so I could jump and be okay. But I would say, yeah, you just gotta be strong and just set time periods for things. You work during the day, come home a couple nights out the week and do that, and on the weekends, and that should be good. Use your PTO if you got a show when we open back up. If you do shows and stuff, or you got to travel for something, use your PTO time. If anything, having a full-time job, you're in a good spot because you got a check. You got some income that you can reinvest. You may not be able to reinvest a lot because you got household or family responsibilities, but you got something coming in because it's industry costs. It definitely costs. So that's a good thing. You got something that you can help with, but it's just a matter of just managing your time. That's the best way to balance it.
And I definitely agree with that, Joy. We'll get back to your question because you got a lot of Matthew Knowles questions. Who is this? We work.
I can answer his stuff real quick. Do I know if he's still working on a DC film? I do not, and if I did, I would not say anything.
And I was gonna say that. I'm like, she ain't gonna say nothing about what he got.
Right. We don't. Yeah, I don't share his business like that. I just share my experience. I respect that man's privacy strategy, the whole nine. So, yeah, I would not answer that. I agree. Considering he's a cancer survivor. Yep. He need a break. Let that man live out his old age. Okay. Shoot. All right, we caught up, I think. Okay, so we got Wowak. You want me to read it or you want to read it?
Go ahead. You go ahead and read it.
So let me ask you a question. Being that you said that he's old, what about a person who's in the 50s and are too old to pursue their career? What career and what?
If you're talking about music, I don't feel like there's an age when it comes down to that.
I don't think so either. See, I say Mr. Knowles is old because he's been in the industry. Okay, so he's 70. Me and Beyonce the same age. So he had gotten into the industry 70 minus 40, 30, around mid-30s, 40s. So that's 30 years in the business.
He deserves to retire.
God. Let that man retire. That's where it comes from. He's old. He's older and he's been in the business a long time. He deserves to retire. Somebody in their 50s, again, I would have to ask, how long have they been in the business? What is it that they're doing? Pursuing what kind of career? Are they a producer, an artist, a songwriter? Are they in the business side of things? It really depends. And then who's your audience? I mean, I feel like if they're an artist, music is a young person's game. Music is a young, it is. And again, going back to thinking about the consumer, think about yourself. How did you discover music? At what age do you discover music?
Right.
I don't discover a lot of music because I'm just not on the scene. Now I'm just stuck in my ways. I'll listen to my old school stuff now that it's old school. That's crazy to me. Like my 90s and 2000s music, right? And then I'll listen to my artist music. I'll listen to music if they send me something or if somebody send me something. But I'm just not out here on SoundCloud randomly listening to stuff. We did that in our 20s, teenage year, high school. So that's why they say music is a young person's game, and that's when it's good to get in. So that way, as you grow in age, your audience is growing and aging with you. This is why BBD and New Edition still have fans to this day.
Right.
Because we grew up with them, and now we put our kids on to them through their show, the TV show and everything. So it really depends on somebody in their 50. I got follow-up questions to that. I really can't answer that without knowing more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, can you be a 50-year-old aspiring rapper? I think you have a better chance being a 50-year-old aspiring rapper. Who's your audience? Are you targeting other 50-year-olds? You know? And if you are, how are you reaching them?
Right.
50-year-olds ain't on social media like that. If anything, you would be better off trying to partner with an already established artist from their era. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say you partner with Bobby Brown or something that opened for him at one of his shows. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the only way it would work. Mm-hmm. And that's just psychology and the way people think.
That's just being honest.
Yeah, that's just, you probably be better off writing a song for a younger artist or producing or something.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say too.
Yep.
Because we got to remember the audience.
Right. Yeah, got to remember the audience. Because a lot of, like 50, 60-year-olds, they're barely getting on Spotify. Like, like that's just real. Mm-hmm. We all got an age, and it's not no knock on no old folks. It just is what it is. Because that's going to be us in about 20, 30 years. Some of y'all, that's going to be all at 50, 60 years. I know we probably got some young folks watching. That just is what it is, man. That's just keeping it real. Like my mom, she know who folks is. She know who Cardi B is, but she ain't about to go listen to no Cardi or no Megan. She gonna go listen to Tina Turner. Yeah. She gonna go listen to the Temptations.
Yeah, Teddy Pendergrass.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. That just is what it is.
That's true.
Just is what it is. I hope one day it'll change. I would love to discover new senior citizen artists. Joe, get off of here. Go to bed. Oh man.
Oh, not the senior citizens. But I could tell y'all for sure. It's like it's one artist. I'm open to look at one artist. And you can send me your information. Just a 2 to 3 sentence about yourself. And if you have a YouTube link, send me a YouTube link. Do not send me any downloadable links. You want to know how to contact me? Just click on my bio. Information.
Yep, send that to her. Send that to her. Don't send that to me. I'm just playing. I'm good. Y'all got any questions? Y'all can hit me up. I'm good. I just be joking. But
the good thing is though is that if I do take on an artist, the good thing is so y'all can understand that Patrice, she's part of my marketing and branding strategy team. So you're gonna have a good alignment of people that's gonna come together. Because I have a publicist, I also have an entertainment attorney, have an accountant. That's another thing I want you to understand as well, is that you would have to have your own. And I know some people are like, really, as a manager, you would tell somebody that? Yes. Because when you're doing good business, you're not worried about that. So you would need your own attorney to look at these things. You would need your own accountant. Now, keep in mind that when you're starting off, you may not have those things. We understand that. But at some point, you're going to want to veer off to have your own. I wanted my attorney to be able to send your attorney paperwork, or my accountant to be able to send your accountant stuff. So, it just helps keep a lot of the, the confusion down, and it's just good business, So
I agree. I see the gentleman with the question about the old 50-year-old artist. He said, so what category age bracket would Maxwell be in? And Joe answered him. I think it's different from Maxwell.
Yeah.
Because he came in, he debuted in his 20s, and his fans have grown with him. Similar with Sade. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I was saying, using New Edition as an example. New Edition debuted when they was young.
Right.
They were kids. So their fans came with them as kids all the way up until like high school age, and then they grew with them. So same thing with Maxwell. He debuted then, so his fans are within that same age group because they grew. So that's why I say it's a young person's game. Music is a young person's game. It's just is what it is.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
Us old men about to crack the concrete. 80 plus club. Go for it. Shit,
Right?
go for it. Hey, go ahead. I see there's a whole older community on TikTok that's doing well. I just read an article about it. Yeah. Like they were saying how like the old folks are discovering social media and creating this audience. Hey, we like you never know. You never know. That's what I'm saying. Like if you don't like the guy said about being a 50-year-old artist, shit, try TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Try TikTok, see what happens, see how it go. You know, that's all you can do.
Not only that, art not, and don't be afraid that music may not be it for you. Maybe film. Film may work for you.
Yeah.
You know, you may be able to get in there and get some acting slots. You know, you never know. So if you want to be in entertainment, just because one area may not work for you, it is a big field available. You know. Right. So we're gonna answer a couple more guys. A couple more questions, guys. We're gonna let Patrice.
You gonna make me get my charger, my phone about to die. I got 15%.
It says, okay, thank you guys. Love, keep in touch. It's about time to put respect on old people's name again. They paved the way and they have the most experience. Yes, I agree, Joe. You're absolutely 100% correct. And so we got to be able to have the young and the old, almost like salty and sweet. You know, we got to be able, they got to work together, you know. So
got to.
Both sometimes have egos, though. Sometimes the older people be like, I've been doing this for so long. And the younger people, I ain't got to listen to you because I make more money than you, you know, so, you know, you want to make sure that, you know, we can come together.
They have to figure it out.
Right. But yes, so I want to thank you so much, Patrice. Again, shout out to Patrice, CEO and founder of the Bassline Group, for just joining Hardknocklife Entertainment for this valuable conversation that I'm going to be posting down below. And I'm also going to post it on my YouTube as well, so.
Cool. I didn't know if he was gonna record it, so that's dope.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So thank you again so much. Did you have any last exiting words for the people?
Nah, just thank y'all for tuning in. This was a dope discussion. I hope people, if y'all didn't stay the whole time, I hope y'all can come back and watch it. Follow me on Instagram and sign up for my newsletter. I'm always announcing new stuff. It's the link in my bio. So, yeah, we can keep in touch there.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, have a good night. I know your phone's about to die. I got mine on the charger, so I was ready.
You was I didn't think we was going to go this long. My phone like, 15%. You better come on with it. You better do something.
Oh, my gosh. Oh. But thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate that. I'm in and out. Just let you guys know I'm in and out of social media lately. Because sometimes you got to step back a little bit. So much going on.
Got to.
So much going on. But thanks so much, Patrice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And have a wonderful evening, my love.
All right. You too. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.